They'll blanket you in Wi-Fi and profit off the radiation. Congregation collecting the people for that Satan. I keeps it blazing, cause I can read between the lines. I ain't blind, we unwind what they're really saying. Genetically modify what you're tasting. Don't need that cottage promise, so now you live up in your mom's basement. Redesign time so your mind is always wasted. Programmed to crave the basics. Keep the beta in stasis. Pay the state, kid. You're in debt for being born. Messengers are mourn, just the price for being warned. Don't be alarmed, disconnect from their machinations. Stop subscribing to the folly of all nations. Bone breaking ain't the answer, cause they seek the ownership of souls. Spread the seeds and watch them grow. Break the chains of control. Break the chains of control.
Sweet eternal balance of all that is good, true, and beautiful, friends. Shit is fucking dumb, like stupid dumb right now, and I've sunk once again into yet another deeply disappointed state at the behavior of alleged adults in our beautiful nation. And no, I'm not describing the beautiful humans who showed up to attempt to save freedom from sure death. I'm describing the humans who have responded to the propaganda woven around that event that called it racist and now labels them all terrorists. Yes, this is how truly stupid people have become. They can at once celebrate every other occupation of capitals throughout our country's history, applaud loudly for months of rioting, and then turn at the few people harmlessly walking through the Capitol building and the 240,000+ people who didn't do that and cry horror, terror, and racism. There's nothing anyone can do to help someone that completely retarded come back from their utter loss of rationality, so I'm not sure where to go. But talking to someone who was there, saw it, lived it, and can help us understand what actually happened rather than the propaganda swarming around the scenario is a great start. So we are lucky to have Cheney, the conspiracy chicken of the great show Idiocalypse, and her beautiful souled co-host Jonathan B. Champ here on Rogueways tonight to share her experiences with us. And Cheney and Jonathan, as always, it's so excellent to see you guys. I already feel better.
Us too.
How are you?
It's been a fucking day, dude. Like, I'm sure everybody who is watching and going to watch this can understand and lament the same. Like, I don't know how much time you guys have spent on social media today and yesterday, but it's like more divided than ever, and in like the stupidest possible ways. Like, people can't even fucking think. They can't even think. It's just... Anyways, if you're out there listening and you want to get, unlike this moment is, a little bit more spiritually connected to many things, you can find my writing, signed copies of my novels, orgone pendants, and earrings, and tarot readings and guidance sessions on the site rogueways.org. So I also would love to invite people to rogue.locals.com, where they can join with a pretty fucking rad community, and it's censorship free, and people don't fall into false divides because the media told them to. So it's a really nice place to go. But I do always start with a pointless question of the episode, and so I wanted to ask you guys, what's the best dream you've had recently, as in the kind that you have when you sleep, if you can share it.
Okay. Well, ever since I started podcasting, I've been having really strange dreams.
Really?
With like a lot of people. You know, we're all talking about all this stuff. And it's very weird. Like, I'll be having a conversation when I wake up and realize I'm not on a podcast anymore.
Wow.
So yeah, it's like seeping into every facet of my life. You know, I feel like this last big stream we did, we had like the Dangerous World guys, and I can kind of still hear their voices in my head for some reason. Like, I don't really know what happened on that stream, but I feel like I'm connecting with people, whether I like it or not, on another higher level.
Yeah.
And that's what it seems that the dreams have been showing me lately. Like, it's very active. I'm very involved. Like, we're having council meetings and doing discussions and stuff, and trying to figure out what's going on with this third dimensional realm while we're all asleep. And so that's what it feels like to me. It feels like I'm taking part in some kind of gathering or something that's like not every day, but like once a week or something. We get together in the dream world and we hash this stuff out on another level of reality. So that's where I'm at with it.
That's pretty rad work you're doing on the dream level. Thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I don't even remember. My life is a waking dream. I don't even remember the last time I dreamed.
Wow.
I know I slept 4 hours last night in my bed, and that was like a huge accomplishment for me. So usually it's like passing out somewhere odd, like in my house. So I don't remember the last dream I had.
Yeah, we got to work on Cheney's sleep
Horrible.
habits.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I hear people talk about, like, someone just messaged me and they were like, love Rogue Ways and I love Sam Tripoli. And I was always wondering if you guys knew that I, like, listened to you out on the Baltic Sea when I was out on this ship. And if you ever think about, like, all the people all over the world. And I was like, that is pretty rad. But he was saying, like, people on the boat. Oh, I thought it cut out for a second. He was saying people on the boat.
It's kind of choppy.
We'll see what happens. He was saying people on the boat always have better dreams than they ever do on land. And I was like, I bet it's EMF. I bet there's way less EMF out there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So maybe put yourself in a little Faraday cage and maybe you'll have better dreams.
Go sleep on the ground. Don't do it in a tent with metal poles. Get away from the metal frames. That's what I think is holding us in with all this iron. The Iron Age ended the Magic Age.
I never thought about the metal poles in the tents.
Yeah, so string up a line and hang some tarp, do like a lean-to or like a kind of a tarpaulin thing, a little shelter or whatever, but try to do it without the poles and stuff and sleep without any kind of rubber between you and the actual ground and ground.
Yeah, I like that. That's rad.
Yeah.
That is a good idea. I don't know. I'm sure my house is a brutal little metal box of demons.
Yes. I seriously.
I feel a little like.
The guy that owns this place took out all the corners. It was just pretty cool.
Oh, that is rad.
Yeah, like it's all rounded off. There's no hard angles anywhere. Where the roof meets and everything, it's all kind of like.
That's what I want. If I ever get to finally build my, dream structure, it will have no corners. That'll be a beautiful thing.
This is the first time I've talked to Cheney since she's been back from DC. I don't even know what happened up there.
Yeah, I'm excited. So, Cheney, did you go to the Capitol because you're a racist, self-hating lesbian who can't see women and darkies murdered at the stake and the noose?
I think I obviously went to the Capitol because I'm easily a skinhead KKK. You know how they roll all dyke deep?
Totally.
Like, that's all. They're like, hey, where's our lesbians at?
They love that.
Didn't Dyke start the KKK? Weren't they the first ones?
Definitely, they weren't ever burned at the stake.
Kiss,
right?
kiss.
I love that. Yeah, it's pretty ridiculous. That's what you're being framed as right now, as a totally insane psychopath who can't help but be swayed by the words of Donald Trump. No matter what he ever said, you would just do what he told you to do, and you hate black people, and you must hate women because everybody on the right does. But it's weird that you are one. I don't know. You must have gotten really screwed up.
There was every single color, race I could even think of trying to be racist and put in boxes there. There was as many women as men, if not more.
Wow.
There was a whole huge group of Chinese, ex-Chinese citizens that were pro-Trump and anti the CCP.
I heard that. Yeah.
I have so many pictures. Everybody has pictures, but we were all blocked. They totally, the closer we got to the Capitol, the more scrubbed our signal became. So the people that actually made it to there, they couldn't get out. They couldn't call. They couldn't, so it's like, it was a chain of events that I have my speculation, I have my feels when I was in the moment, and then I have like this whole nother like magic feeling of it that feels totally crazy and out of my grasp of my reality, but it seems like the truest thing that happened.
I think we're being fucked with right now, not just at that rally, because your
sounds like she's
audio
underwater.
Is like, yeah, it's like underwater.
Is it? Was it fine before?
It was. Now
It
it's
sounded
better.
good at the beginning when it sounded good just now, but when you did that whole speech, it was like,
Yeah.
Weird.
Now it's better.
Sounds a lot clearer.
Okay.
Your video is also choppy though, at the same time.
So you were saying though that it felt like they were suppressing the actual signal, like you guys couldn't communicate with your cell phones and whatnot while you were there.
No, not at all. I know I'm so like, oh, am I about to get chopped off here?
I hope not.
Am I going to get cut offline? Yeah, it was hard to communicate with each other in the rally, much less communicate with you guys past it. I tried to FaceTime every single person I knew because at some point it was so intense. I didn't know if this was going to be the only video of real life that gets out. I had no idea what you guys were being told because I wasn't watching the news, but I knew like there wasn't any part of the day that I didn't really expect. So it wasn't a surprise to me. I won't say we all, because there was a lot of brokenhearted people. I will say a lot of Anons knew Pence was going to drop the ball. He had to do the final crime. That's high treason. He had to do it. He had to stand in front of the nation, and then they all had to come on after on the news and all follow suit. So they all went treasonous for China. It all had to happen that way.
Why?
You keep your friends close and your enemies closer,
Oh.
because you got to let the criminal leave the store. They didn't steal anything. It all has to happen. So it's like all these MAGA people. I don't know. I feel like I should start at the beginning, because that's where it's like where I was looking at them from the Capitol, and I was thinking, the way you slaughter sheep is by waking them up. All these sheep are being slaughtered on the Capitol right now as Pence opens his big lion mouth. It was just so many moments of like all this has to happen. The Fibonacci's changing. It's happening from right here on its way out, and it's happening. Everybody feels it. People that have never listened to Trump speak are on every word. People that have never paid attention to politics cared because I went.
Yeah.
They only cared because I showed up. Like, they only cared because the news told them that some bullheaded shirtless guy, that guy was not in real people.
Yeah.
Everything the news is
How
telling
many
you is
millions
lie.
of pictures have already gone out of this dude? You know, it's
Yeah.
already been everywhere. Every third post is about this dude. It's like no cameras were working, and live streaming wasn't working. But at these really photographic events, they happen to have badass cameras with super zoom lenses, and got these guys, in the chair and carrying stuff out of the Capitol, and
People at the
walking
right
through the
angle
ropes.
to like get different aspects of that. Like there's one of the guys standing and like taking pictures downwards of the fucking bullheaded guy in the seat or whatever, and there's one video where a cop seems to be being chased by
Pointing.
like a group of like, oh, we're gonna get you, like rabble rousers like after him, which is I don't think the mood of many protests.
Like, those damn kids!
Yeah. And he's like backing away, and he's like gonna like hit him with a stick or something while he's like backing away, like he's ever gonna stand off against that many people at once. But someone's conveniently
People use their
behind
common
him
sense.
and like videotaping. I'm like, who the fuck is behind him videotaping that then? This is such bullshit. This is not
If
real.
people use their brain,
Yeah.
the same racist redneck tractor driver that you told us was the Trump supporter for the last 4 years isn't the shirtless guy with the pedophile tattoo and the bullhorn. What are we doing? What are we doing? We are at full blown movie.
Yeah.
Like by the time the Capitol came was way later. It was almost like I felt like in retrospect, it was very scary doing it, but it's like I kept having to go further past my fear to see the reality of it. It was very much pulling off the curtain of The Wizard of Oz. It was very much, that's the closest thing I can get to it. It was like once I got past the fake smoke and once I got past the fake booms, and yeah, they were spraying real tear gas on us, and they were spraying a whole bunch of other colored weird stuff. Like I swear one of them was sweet and it made my whole face go numb.
Oh my god.
Like I was like, am I on drugs right now? What did they
Yeah.
just do to us? And well, it would be perfect for them to arrest me later and be like, Trump supporter meth head.
Yeah.
I'm like, how perfect.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where you want to start. It's so that like the whole day, like the Capitol was the last 20%. Well, not even of my whole day. The Capitol wasn't even the scariest thing of my whole day. The scariest thing of my whole day was when all the news told everyone we were KKK, and they shut down all the buses, and they shut down all the Ubers, and they shut down all the cabs, and then I had to walk to Maryland
Oh my god.
from DC with this face.
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it's not the nicest neighborhoods
Uh-uh.
up there in the center of our.
And I got called a chicken head.
Wow.
That's weird. That's a weird thing.
Yeah.
It's like some 90s rap reference. I've
I
never-
actually
Or
should
like
have been really
pedophile
scared.
reference.
But I felt like it was a sign from the universe. Because I'm like,
You're a conspiracy
Chicken head.
Yeah. It's like, don't worry, I got you. Just keep going.
It was maybe a fan. Maybe somebody recognized you. It's like, oh, the chicken lady.
Wow. Now you're
I saw you
seriously-
with what's their names? Ben and Rob from what's their show? Fuck, I'm slipping my mind. right
Edge of Wonder.
now. Edge of Wonder. That's pretty cool.
They're so cute.
They're adorable.
And they're such good-hearted guys, and they put out great content, and they've never been wrong yet. So I think people need to like totally check out there, and they have a great energy of like putting out positive shit that's going on that nobody else is talking about. So
Yeah.
people should check out Edge of Wonder, Ben and Rob, cuties.
Yeah, good guys. I saw a video of like people, some dude with like an American flag pole upside down trying to break a window on maybe the Capitol building, one of the state buildings. And most of the crowd was yelling at them to fucking stop. Like, what are you doing? This is not how we do this thing. Stop breaking shit.
And that's what I
This
wanted
is
to
our
ask
stuff.
about is what the general goal seemed to be of, you know, if there is any kind of consensus at all, what did the general goal seem to be? And about that exact thing, were people like decrying the people who are storming in or like breaking windows or whatever? Or were they, it seemed like almost no one participated in that part. So it can't have been that well supported.
It's almost like now looking at it in retrospect, all of it was dumb luck. It's like, Lindsay, I really feel like I didn't just have energy from a whole bunch of people I knew, but I felt like I had energy from you. And it gave me this like, and I have my armor of God and my lack of fear, but I did feel like I was kind of floating through a very volatile, dangerous situation. And I did think at one point, should I go inside? Are we gonna go inside? But from my side, with all the I mean, at one point, this lady next to me said, "Proud Boys, militia, get up to the front." And I was like, I think I step back a little here.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm standing by the paramedic lady. Like, there was this bad, awesome woman. I'll never know her name probably, but she was like a paramedic, and she just had a long cigarette hanging out of her mouth and an American flag tied around her neck, and she was totally just taking care of everybody with pepper spray, everybody with all the tear gas, everybody with all the thing. And some lady yelled at her, "You need to do this and not use this, and you need to use that," and whatever. And she's like, "I got it, I'm a paramedic." And she's like, "I'm a mom," and she's like, "I'm a paramedic and a mom."
Yeah.
It was just, no one was scared. People were up there with their skateboards. It was not this idea. There was definitely Antifa dressed as Trump people.
Yeah, I was wondering
Definitely.
about that too.
And they actually, I brought it over here because it was very easy to get it. I didn't realize how I looked like Antifa. I didn't realize that I was like in my punk rock sweatshirt with my Kill Your Idols on my back. And so I walked up to this dude and he's like, "Oh, you can have this. This and this," which you guys know how concerts and all this shit are. This was $10.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's
I don't
hella
wear
cheap.
it. I was just freezing cold. It was all just happenstance. I was so, it was like, it should have snowed. It was so, I don't remember being that cold in the last time in my life. And I was not dressed for it. I had Chucks on. So I was like, well, I guess this is how it's going.
Yeah.
So unknowingly, I thought this was a funny part of the hat.
I told you to take your
That's
I
ironic.
told you
I
to take
didn't
your wool
know.
socks.
I didn't know. So I just unknowingly wore this and walked to the Capitol. I think this is why I walked right on set. I think this is why they let me on set. They thought, "Oh, she's one of us. Let her in.
Yeah.
She'll fucking destroy shit." I don't think they thought I was a Trump supporter at all. I think they thought I was Antifa. And that's,
Wow.
I definitely think that Antifa was dressed up and egging shit on. They were all the people at the front. They were all the people shattering windows, and they were trying to egg the MAGA people into the mix. And the
Yeah.
MAGA people were broken-hearted dudes. They thought Pence was their man. They thought all Republicans are still good guys. They couldn't see that their party's just as corrupt as the party they've been screaming about. It was they were literally slaughtered sheep. There were so many people crying that there were so many ladies crying that I felt like their husbands were like, "I got to get in that Capitol."
Yeah.
like, I gotta make
Don't
her
worry,
stop
honey.
crying.
I got this.
I'm gonna get Nancy Pelosi's chair. I don't even think people knew what they were doing. They were just incensed, and it was just like as it elevated. I started looking at was what was coming at ladders. Like it was just so planned and orchestrated down to the scaffolding on the outside, down to the bleachers, down to I walked up to a door at one point And I'm like, oh shit, this is scary. And there was like this Marine looking old dude on the outside, and he was free tours. And he just opened this door. There was all these hard ways to get in.
Yeah.
But he just opened this door for me. And he was like, free tours. And I looked up it and I was like, that looks like the back rooms.
Yeah.
And I was like,
this is a trap.
gotta go. I'm all the way here. I might as well go.
I already paid.
Yeah. So I just was like, all right. So it was just like each level of like not being scared and then getting further and further, that I was almost wondering, if I walk all the way up to the very archway, are they all faking it? Is this all fake?
Yeah.
That's what I felt like when I was watching it.
Yeah.
But the horde guy inside, he was not there on our day. It was cloudy on our day. It looked really sunny on the day he was in there.
Huh.
And there is no way the dudes that were trying to get through that door would have let a guy with fur horns, shirtless, walk in first. There was no way it was going to happen. There were some of the women around me that would have never let that dude even up in the mix. They would have been like, we need real men pushing right now. Like, they would have not even taken that guy seriously for a second. It was, and then there was a whole bunch of old ladies standing around that they're like, I've been waiting for this to happen. I've been trying to tell everyone this is going to happen, that no one's paying attention. There was a ton of people running away from it that were rabble rousing. I was noticing like dudes telling like, you need to go home and get your guns while they're running away. Like it was like, all the men need to get up there while they're running away. I was like, they're trying to create something.
That's what agent
like they were trying to
are good at. They're like,
that's
start
exactly
shit, run.
That's exactly what it was. The whole entire thing. And the closer you got, the more you saw these like MAGA people, like Trump supporters from the whole time. You saw that the Antifa fake ones didn't have the brass to stay there. You saw them start to weasel out. It was like when Hart was in the really mattered, the Antifa weren't getting paid enough money from George Soros to stay there and keep playing ball.
Yeah.
So that's why what I really believe happened, we crashed a movie set before they could pull off the world's biggest false flag and take all your guys' guns away.
Wow.
That's what I think happened. They were going to put Antifa versus MAGA, and it would have been a slaughter, and we would have gotten sniped and all of us killed, and everybody would have easily handed their guns over for it. It would have been next stage. I think it's high devil shit.
Yeah.
Like, and I think people were on callings when I was looking around. There was a guy at the top of the highest scaffolding, 2 dudes on both sides with long Viking horns, and they were blowing them so loud they were overpowering the purge sound of the Capitol. So it was going boop, boop,
Wow.
boop, and it was creating this like weird intense. But these
Yeah.
guys were like,
What the fuck?
I love it.
What the fuck was going on?
horn. There was every religion you can think of outside in groups praying. Like
Wow.
it was insane. It was
Wow.
like people were on pilgrimages to put their energy on this limestone. And I could feel it from all of them. There was people up there that were having like, am I going to die for my country today? I was looking at it in their face. They just went there to go watch a parade. And now they're really like, am I going to fucking die for my country today? I think I am. It was the heaviest amount of energy. And I know we're in this crazy place that the media is still like lying. And it's us against them. They're liars and we're lions.
Yeah.
This is where we're at right now. And at one point when I was standing in the field, this is Lindsay. This is like, I'm standing in the field, like seriously, like a dildo, just staring out over everything, like taking it all in. This Pleiadian woman, this tallest lady I ever seen in my life. I wasn't even paying. She just appeared in front of me and she grabbed both my hands and she's like, you need to shut your eyes. And normal me, I'd be like, all right, lady.
Bye-bye.
Go.
Yeah.
But
This is not how you
like-
start a conversation.
Yeah.
I was like, all right. And so I just shut my eyes. And she's like, you need to feel all the warmth coming from the soles of your feet and up through your body.
You keep
And
giving
I
me
was like,
chills.
Then she
Yeah.
grabbed my hands and put them on the ground. And she said, I think it's time for you to meet Maya.
Wow.
And I was like,
Nice.
I don't know Maya. And she said, I know. And she just put my hands on the ground and she said, you can come hang it with us if we want, but I encourage you that you make it to the monument today. And she pointed at the Washington Monument. And I was
Wow.
like, oh, there's so many people around it. I don't know if I'm going to do that. And that's why I sent you that picture.
Yeah.
I had to go put my hands on it. It was like this
picture.
weird whole fucking magical thing that I got to be one tiny little piece of a fractal, and everybody got to be one tiny piece of a fractal. But it felt like we were all there bringing energy of our ancestors and our people and putting it on that stone.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, this sounds heady as fuck. I think whatever high magic those Pelosi, Schumer, whatever they were supposed to do on that hill at a certain time, we scared the shit out of them, and we did it. Whatever magic was supposed to happen there, I really believe we did it. And I think the news is panicked right now.
Dude.
Like, I know it sounds crazy for me to say this because it seems the darkest shit, but I know what I fucking saw. And it was like people from all over the world and the love fest that happened beforehand, and then a real anti-test happened afterward. It was like we called it. It was a love fest and then an anti-test. And it was fucking bizarre.
Wow.
And when I was driving out of Washington, D.C., I was fucking scared for my life. The whole, like, I really had moments that I was like, I would hate to make it away from the Capitol to then die by getting raped and mugged in the street.
Yeah.
Like, there were moments that I was like, this is real life still. So, anyways,
I love
that's the long
that.
and short of it.
No, this is exactly why I'm so glad that I get to talk to you, because I have been so sad to see all the shit that they're doing with this. And I was like, was it all just a false flag? Was it all just like this is? But then I kept thinking too, like, why is this all that happened then? Like, why didn't they make it worse? Or like, why didn't Horn Guy like eviscerate someone with his horns or something? Like, you know what I mean? Like, all these symbols they had like seemed to not actually be that effective. And I kept looking at the death count. You know, they're so proud of this death count. They're like, 5 people died, brah! And they're like freaking out. And I'm like, okay, that sucks. It's horrible if it's true. I have no idea if it is or not. But also, 4 of them were from natural, like, causes, supposedly. Like, they had heart attacks or whatever. And I'm like, out of 250,000 people, I think 4 of them probably might have a heart attack and die anyway. And then one of them got shot by the police who were there. So even that is like, it's not like the people you're even trying to make look like terrorists actually did anything. At all, you know, so that's fucked up too. So I love your point of view that, you know, you guys all came and like put this energy and brought that magic there to undo whatever the bullshit, not just undo, but like replace what they did, because that is the only way I think good wins in this scenario.
Well, I don't know how personal you want to get, but like we had a little bit of a conversation before I even left, and I feel like I felt like I was carrying other people's energy that had to, like, other people that are smart, far more connected and smarter, and I don't know what you call more spiritually connected. Is it smarter? Probably. Far more connected than me. I felt like I was just like being a conduit because I could. Like, other things were happening, and I'm sure there was a ton more people that knew it, and I'm sure. Yes, it was something different, and it was like I had to just make it from limestone to limestone. I had to make it from marble to marble, and I didn't even realize it until it was happening.
And that fucking woman came in, because I'm saying, like, I was thinking about you going, and I was like, I'm so excited Cheney's going, that's so cool. But there was like a moment that hit me where it was like, you have to give Cheney a blessing. And I was like, oh. And I was like, hey, can I give you a blessing? And you're like, sure. And I was like, you know, so I was like called and guided to do that, which often it's the other way where someone's asking me for a blessing or whatever. That's not how it went. And that hasn't happened to me before. And so I was very glad. And I was like, well, for whatever that was worth. But I loved what you were talking about, like the Washington Monument. That's what we call the giant penis, right? Yeah.
Yes, I literally took it. I went from the penis all the way down the mirrored lakes into the fucking vagina. I literally did it.
You brought it.
Did
you
it.
did it.
Did it.
Woo! I fucking love
America.
that. You did this.
I fucked America, you guys.
Because
Salud.
I also talk about, like, the best, most powerful magic I've ever worked in my life has been completely accidental and just happenstance and just, like, right timing and synchronicity. And it's been fucking life-changing for whatever. And so I feel like that, if that's, like, a role you played, that's exactly how the best magic works.
Yeah, man.
It was so incredible to watch everybody else, all the people I met before. It's like something in me wanted to be scared, And then it just wasn't time. It was like my common sense and my drama nerd was like, it wasn't adding up. Something about the scene wasn't adding up. The people that were like what they were wearing, like I was looking at these punk rock girls in their Trump jackets thinking they would never wear that. They would never wear it any more than I would wear it. But I was freezing. And I knew in that moment of us being heated and like in this pit types, we weren't freezing. So it was like I didn't have my gear on anymore. I had taken it all off by the time I was in like the final. And I was looking at the
stage.
Archway thinking, yeah, I was like, I don't go through that archway. Like that's not I'm not here for that. I'm not here. I felt the ego of me want to go inside, and it was all clout and fun pictures and sitting in a chair and doing all this like really fleshy, lame shit when you look back on it of it wasn't for that. I really tried to, I don't know if you guys know, there's a QAnon that's pretty popular. His name's Vincent Fusca.
I feel like I just
You might have seen him. Some people think he's JFK Jr. The dude's never said
showed up
that.
in all the pictures.
The dude's never said that or anything. But anyways, he's always around. He's at all these events. And there was kind of a time I was just aimlessly like floating through this scene of chaos. And I saw him hanging on a rafter, and he was taking other people's phones, recording the scene, handing them back. Taking the phone, recording the scene, handing them back. Because all of our stuff is so important, because the truth is going to come out, and some little nerd out there is adding together all the video and all our things and making the sun. No, it goes, that's right here. This light would be coming through here right now. Some nerds are doing all this, and their story doesn't add up. Yeah, like there's only one truth, and it is not on the side of them. It's not on the side of Pence. It's not on the side of Biden. It's not on the side of Pelosi. And I'm sorry for if you are still asshole enough to realize that it isn't on the side of Trump. You're an asshole at this point. You're an ignorant asshole. If you're still like they're all the same, you're not fucking paying attention.
No, I know. No one's paying attention.
You're not fucking paying attention. And so like I don't know what to tell you. Like go, I don't know. Go wait for the vax or go wait for a noose. I don't know what to tell you anymore, but I'm no longer here to wake people up. Yeah. I'm not here to do that. That's not my calling anymore, because if you're still asleep and you let us get this far, I don't want you to help rebuild. You have bad ideas.
Yeah. Your brain is broken.
People awoke. We have enough people awoke to build a new world. And I also used to be a people that all the secrets, divulge it all. Now I look at all these people with their masks and their like robot ways, and I'm like, you guys don't get to know everything. Sometimes secrets deserve to be held. You guys can't know about it. Yeah, I get it now. I get it now.
I've had a similar realizations before. I'm like, shit, did I just side with secret societies? No. But I do understand. A lot of
worthless eaters running around though.
But then I also wonder, like, how many secret societies are demonized and how many are actually the ones behind, like, some crazy-ass bullshit, evil, and I don't know. I'm always open-minded.
Open-minded. I'm going to start my own, well, I'm going to say it now, but then when I really start it, I'll never say it again. But I'm totally going to start my own secret society.
Just don't tell me about it.
And now no one will ever know.
This is the last time I'll say it.
Well, it's interesting about the bullhorn guy, because I was like, or the horns man, because I was like, well, whatever. I know people who have been at like multiple protests in multiple areas, and they travel around and go to protests, and they dress up so that they can get attention and be noticed, and they go to all sides of all different sides of issues. And so I can imagine somebody just like being that guy, because I've seen that guy, not that guy, but like guys exactly like that. And characters exactly like that. And so I just wasn't very interested in it. I was like, it doesn't really seem like, why even focus on him, right? Like, what did he even accomplish? Nothing. He didn't shoot anybody. He didn't get shot. He can't be like a real crisis actor because nothing happened. But then I saw that like Q sent me or whatever. And I was like, oh, and someone pointed out like, yeah, he was just there to completely discount Q. And
he was called the QAnon shaman. I've heard the QAnon shaman. I've never heard of it before until this day when this guy comes out. But all of a sudden, there's a QAnon shaman, and apparently he's a big deal in the QAnon movement.
Does anybody know if
And
that's
I'm
true?
like, the QAnon high priestess doesn't know about the QAnon
Yeah,
shaman.
like, wait. So, but it also makes sense. Like, you send a guy in to be really prominent, and you have him hold that sign, and you have him be one of the people who gets inside. And now, even further than it already was, we can say, like, everybody who believes in QAnon or follows QAnon is dangerous lunatic and should be silenced.
Well, that's what like a week leading up to this, I saw an article that was saying that the QAnon people are now rudderless since the Trump loss. You know, before it was actually said that he lost, it was like the whole thing, like delete all the QAnon people, ban everybody that ever posted a QAnon hashtag, and then say like all the stuff is happening within their movement. It's like, well, the movement's not here anymore. Like, we're not hearing from all these people. Just like you said, Parler's gone.
Yeah.
Now, like, you can't really get to Parler, so that's where all the QAnon people went. So just like Cheney said when they did that, was like, look, I'm not going to fucking Parler because they're just going to group us in there and get rid of us. You know, like, that's the whole point of that.
Well, and it furthers the divide that I've been like really like coming to grips with lately is this red-blue thing, right? Like, we had Greece and Sparta, and Greece was, or Athens and Sparta. Athens was blue and Sparta was red, and we have fucking Bloods and Crips, and we have fucking Coke and Pepsi, and it's always blue and red, and we have Democrats and Republicans.
The crown chakra and the root chakra.
And we have the fucking Twitter, which is blue. And
it's easy
Parler.
to see when the teams have uniforms.
Yeah.
Isn't it easy to see? It's a bread and fucking circus show.
Yes. And
That's
then
all I'm surprised somebody else didn't show up with another, like, here comes the Antifa.
there's all the blues. Yeah, they're the blacks. Well, so then I was...
Well, Antifa.com goes to Joe Biden still
Yes,
right now. Anyone
still.
can check that out. So.
But still a thing?
like,
I
you
would have
know.
thought that would have gone by the
No,
wayside.
they have no fear. They have zero fear.
Yeah.
Well, that's the other thing. I
They
feel like
did yesterday.
they're just out with everything
Or
now. They're
whatever
like, no,
day.
let's put everyone. They want you, Cheney, to be on a terrorist list now for being a domestic terrorist and never be able to fly again. And that's a thing that has been proposed. They've also proposed that they literally unseat every Republican who called for any sort of response to the entire voting fucking fraud shit. It's like, unseat them. Like, they will no longer be in office. And I'm like, that's psychotic. Like, you're fucking psychotic. And it's like, and people are
We
just
knew that
fucking,
already.
It's insane.
We knew that from the riots, you know, like we knew that as soon as they turned this whole thing around, and now it's all white nationalist, racist. And how many stores got looted in Washington D.C. in the past 3 days?
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's
How
what
many things got lit on fire
I know.
in Washington, D.C.?
So I'm like, how many people went into the
If they
Capitol
didn't
building?
get lit on fire, somebody put them out because there's a fucking firefighter there
There's
with a MAGA hat on. He's like, oh
Fire
shit.
extinguisher. Seriously. And it was like, even the people who were, you saw this video of them like walking through the velvet ropes. I'm like, you just broke into the Capitol and you're walking inside the velvet ropes. Like, that's very sweet. But nobody broke
Free
a
pillars.
statue. Like, nobody fucking ripped up anything. Nothing got destroyed. You know, and that was supposedly like the worst terrorist attack ever. And it was like such a bad thing. And I'm like, yeah, but you didn't say shit when buildings were burning down, dogs were getting ripped apart in the street, and people were murdering each other. What
Yeah,
the
but those
fuck?
people weren't
Let's be real.
racist.
Whatever
They
amount
were
of money
blue.
it took to fix the broken windows from the outside, or whatever they say it took, it will be far less than they wash away to all these other nations that do nothing to help us ever. So I'm just like, hey, can't we call FEMA to fix these windows? Like, what's the big deal? Like, why are we all panicking right now?
Well, we got to
Like, they
pay
have-
Palestine for gender studies, so it's kind of back on the list of important things.
And I want to
Oh, yeah.
see if I can get this picture up. I'm just going to go for it. It's a picture. You guys won't be able to see it, but everybody else will. And it is just the CCP. Come on, screen. You can do it.
I think I can share screen with you, Lindsay. No?
Right?
Oh, you want to try
I
that?
think we can totally do this.
Okay.
If
Because
you
I
want.
have, I
I-
have a picture of the CCP pamphlets that someone shared that I wanted other people to see if they hadn't yet.
I haven't.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Let me see.
I haven't seen
Share
shit.
screen. Okay.
I'm glad you survived, Cheney.
I was far more scared walking home after the shitty Democratic mayor and governor decided to really put us in harm's way by littering the news, calling us racist, and one of the blackest parts of the country I've ever been in. So it's just a real shitty way that it was like, already as a woman, it was fucking frightening. And then being a white person, being called something like that, it was just, there was really a moment that I was like, please, if there's any power in the world, will you make me invisible? And we just had to walk for hours to Maryland, you guys.
It's fucking
Maryland.
crazy.
It's so crazy.
Nuts, man.
And it was freezing cold, and we almost got mugged at one point. That I will also say this, as far as being like, I'm like right in between of being a butch woman. And I was so friggin' grateful in my life that I only was with another butch woman at this moment. And I actually was grateful that I wasn't with one of my dude friends, because there was a time that I'm like, if we beat this dude up right now, all these other people are going to jump us.
Yeah.
Like, it was the weirdest situations of just like, we were put in a bad place because the news lied about us.
Yeah.
And so it added a whole bunch of fear that I would have never had ever about, but all of a sudden the news put me on, they made me an enemy to people that I never felt that way with ever before. And I also, walking and getting kicked out of Ubers and walking and getting kicked out of Ubers and walking and getting kicked out of Ubers.
How do you get kicked out of
really,
an Uber once you're already in the Uber?
for not having your tear gas mask up, for and not on purpose, you guys. I would have, if they would have asked me to, I was so tired by the end of the day and broken, like if they would have asked me to do anything to just get back to the hotel, I would have done it. I would have been like, dude, unzip it, let's go, let's just get back to my hotel. For everybody, let's go. I was just almost yeah, it was just a very frightening, but I also felt like, this is total speculation, that the first two drivers that picked us up were maybe like
Agents
with the CCP. Yeah, I felt like maybe it was like they were just Uber driving just to pick up all these patriots and drop them off in the worst parts of town. Like, I thought that's what was happening to us. And there was no other people around us. It wasn't like, oh, there's a whole bunch of rednecks. At least, ooh, we can get in over there. No, it was black streets and like a laundromat and a check cashing place and us and Metro PCS. And yeah, it was very frightening. And I'm not a person, I've lived in big cities. I've lived in Los Angeles. I've lived in Detroit. I've lived in places. I have my wits about me. I'm smart, but I've never had anyone call me KKK. So it was very, I should sue DC for it, really, is what should happen. But that's later. I'll have to call, like, that's what I'll have to call my lawyer.
Call Lynn Wood. He seems to be all about that kind of shit.
He's also kicked off Twitter.
Yeah, we're not allowed on Twitter anymore. None of us.
Who is it? It's General Flynn, Sidney Powell, Trump, and others. And I'm like, damn, they're
Code
just going
Monkey,
for it.
Praying Medic. Yeah, if anyone, Code Monkey, Praying Medic, like everyone big, they're taking it down. It's all going again. And so anyone out there that thinks that anybody else is losing accounts but QAnons, you guys are fucked up. You guys are just repeating what QAnons have been saying, and that's the only reason the QAnons are getting taken down, you guys. Like, I'm sorry to tell you, there is a reason for it, and they're the ones that are still right. They're the ones that predicted Pence was going to do this.
Wow.
So it's like, at what point are you going to stop harassing these kids and start listening to them and just put your little ego away and think, oh, wow, somebody that's been looking into conspiracy theories for a tenth of the time I may have information on me? Yes, that's the way this whole thing works. We're a collective, assholes. Put your ego away.
Yeah.
They don't know how to think, though. They only know how to be afraid and respond. There's also this tweet that I would like to share. So first of all,
we never did the screen share thing. Does that not work?
It doesn't really work from my end the way that I'm casting, unfortunately. So you guys will have to look at the video now or later to see it. But the first thing I showed was just the pamphlets, and people were watching that for a little bit of you talking. And just the CCP. It was like, the CCP must end. I actually put the link in the chat, and ccp.com. And I just loved hearing that from you and seeing those pamphlets that the people were there against China. I don't think that people again, they don't know how to think for some reason anymore, and they can't for some reason understand that China's this evil, fucking horrible, evil, terrible place.
They treat gringos really nice. Like you go over there, they like sweep the floor in front of you and stuff.
That's
They're
true.
like, oh, this is really nice here. I don't know what everybody's bitching about.
That's really true. I've been there, and that's exactly what happens. And then they fucking had this tweet that was like, oh my god, I should just find the tweet and put it on the fucking screen. It's disgusting. It's basically it's fucking disgusting. I'll find it. But it was
Shane's got the whiskey.
it was like,
I need it, you guys. I need it.
It was like,
If I would have talked to you the day before yesterday, I would have bawled crying.
Oh, you can still do that. We'll hug you.
I
We'll
know
hug
it
you
might
digitally.
happen, but I really was like in very fragile places.
Sorry,
so
Lindsay.
no, you're fine. So this tweet is about how Uyghur, I never know how to say that word, but the Uyghur women are so much happier now. This is literally the tweet. Is like the Uyghur women are so much happier now that they've been re-educated and given, feminine health or whatever we fucking call it. Basically, they're saying we sterilized these women and we fucked their brains up, and they're really happy now. And this is a tweet that they have, and they're not even fucking shy about it. And yet Donald Trump and fucking General Flynn and all these people can get banned from Twitter forever, but not the fucking CCP. Like, it's fucking crazy.
Who literally owns slaves.
Literally.
Right now. They have a bunch of slaves.
Fucking insane. They're committing genocide, and people are afraid to criticize them because it's racist. I'm like, it's a country, you fucking idiot.
Well, since I'm already in the KKK, I no longer mind criticizing them.
Yeah, true. Like, I'm all down with that. I can't find the fucking tweet. I don't know why. But it exists.
At the Capitol, one of the other cool things that I noticed, but it wasn't cool at all. It is cool, but it was at the Capitol. We have our American flag, and then
It's cool, but also terrible.
It's also very terrible. And right beneath it was the POW flag. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we've all been prisoners of war. Like, that's what we're all in right now. We are literally prisoners of World War III. And that flag is a representation of that. And nobody is aware to it. Like, you know who wears masks as a country and always has? China.
That was
You know why? Because it works really well at separating people.
And it works really well at quieting people, and it works really well at like making people not see each other's smiles. And I don't know, it's a ritual. It's sad.
It's sad. I can't find this fucking tweet that I want to share, but anyway.
Back to the woods, guys. Back to the woods.
Today I was seriously like, we need to all just have chickens and rabbits and gardens. Really? I know I've been saying that, but
time to get on that shit.
For real.
Everybody.
Can I tell you guys big? Okay, go. No. Let's hear this tweet.
Well, this is not the one that I was trying to find, but this is another one that I find very disturbing. And so Tim Pool tweeted this, and he said, this is a really weird tweet. And then they deleted it, and it's from Verizon. Someone screenshotted it, luckily, and so it's still in the thread. But Verizon support tweeted out, do you think movie theaters should still have a place in this new world?
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, so in one tweet you just swooped away all the ideas that movie theaters might have been
all
perfectly acceptable, and like now we have to question whether or not movie theaters are okay because it's a new world or something. And I'm like, dude, we don't even have as good a living standards as prisoners of war did in many wars. Like, they had like pools sometimes, and like fucking like, I'm not saying I'm not saying I want to be prisoner of war or that was okay. I'm just saying
sometimes Jane Fonda might visit.
Yeah.
Sing some songs.
I'm not saying it was cool. Okay, I'm just saying, like, we think that our lives are great, and they're actually fucking sickly, like, dying, like, atrophying away, you know? And then, like, people like Verizon are like, this is a good idea to ask people whether or not they think movie theaters should still exist, because somehow
Wouldn't it be better if Verizon owned all the movies?
Yeah. Wouldn't it be better if you were just strapped to your phone on your face and you never saw anyone? Like...
Yes, it would. I'm
sorry, Cheney. I'm sure what you were going to say was way more appropriate to the discussion we're actually having, because that had nothing to do with anything.
No, I think we're all there in the same place. Is that this is this new normal that they're shuffling in. The Build Back Better crew has just taken the United States, supposedly, unless something else happens. I don't know. There always seems to be a thread of hope hanging there before us. Yeah. But they just spent the last 4 years completely demoralizing and
Brainwashing.
making insane the left and the liberals and all that, and they've been fucking insane. I know a lot of them, and so now they're doing the same thing to us, to the people that are more conservative minded, and they're making us all insane. You know, like, how could you dare treat us like this when y'all just spent all summer doing the same thing, and we're doing it because we really believe that this election was stolen? Because how could 80 million people vote for Joe Biden?
Yeah.
You know, why? How could that ever happen? It could never happen. And it's just hard for us to believe that something like that would ever happen.
75 million plus 80 million equals more people than were registered to vote in America. That's why Donald Trump keeps repeating the number of this many people legally voted for me. There's only this many people registered to vote. It's easy math, everyone.
Yeah.
It's easy math.
But
That's where I'm like, we have to stop arguing with those. I know there are people we love. I have them. We love too. We have to stop. I'm at this place where I'm not. Tell me what you think. When Cheney, what happened in DC? Well, here's one thing. Let me argue with you a whole bunch of shit. Well, I was just literally there. But you're just going to argue. Why don't you just tell me what you think, and I'll just listen if that's what you want. Or if you really want to hear the truth, because I'll tell you who wasn't there. Anderson Cooper, fucking Fox News. I didn't see any of these people there. So their narrative was already pre-planned, just the same as this pre-plandemic, and everything is not going according to plan. There is panic in DC.
Woo!
There is panic. And anyone who went there, that is on this like feeling like there's energies, you could feel them running underneath our feet. You could feel their fear running underneath our feet. And they were running in the tunnels, running for their lives because they didn't know. And there was so many of us. There was millions of us. The news will never say millions of us all in one place. I also am not naive. They were going to shoot Trump in front of us.
You think so?
I've never seen Trump with plexiglass in this country in my life. I've never seen a president with plexiglass in America. Have you guys?
Yeah, plexiglass?
I did see the
He had
plexiglass, but I thought that was the screen that they fucking read off of or whatever.
No, I've never seen it,
Wow.
and if I would have saw it when I was there, I would have left earlier. There was snipers on every rooftop. They were handing out weird stuff on the streets. They were selling fruit, just solid fruit, big, huge fruit.
What?
No knife, no cup, no Mexican powder, just big, huge fruit.
Why?
Like, who knows? It's like all just seemed like we were involved in a ritual.
Yeah.
Like, just out of the blue, we're on the streets. One hot dog vendor on the whole street. Hot dogs, that's always fun for one hot dog vendor. And then right by the rally, they put this fake, I didn't see this tent, but I see it in all these pictures the news keeps saying. This like, where it says pizza, hot dogs, and it's a pink triangle tent, like sitting in front of all the Capitol. I don't know, maybe it's photoshopped, but I'm like, I didn't see that tent there.
Oh, you didn't?
Yeah, I didn't see it, but maybe I just wasn't paying attention. But it was hard to find food. I felt like we were all standing in line there was 2 porta potties. It was like they were setting something up. It was, I mean, seriously, every rooftop had snipers. I'm sure every window had snipers. It felt like everywhere I looked, every time I turned around, there was somebody talking in their collar. Wow. It was so bizarre. And anyone who's like, I'm a huge, like, Boston bombing did not go down anything like that. And if you look up the Kyle Chris, is that his name? The guy who accused Jesse Ventura of punching him, and he started like
I don't even know this.
No.
He's the guy that got killed on the shooting range in Texas, and shit, I'm sure somebody in our chat will say something about it.
I know the name for sure.
I think he owned a company, and the company actually had that same Predator logo on it, and he ended up dying afterward. Like they
Punisher?
said, the Punisher logo with the skulls.
Yeah.
He was at the Boston bombing. All his dudes were at the Boston bombing.
I know
That's
you're
another
talking
conspiracy.
Yeah. It was the like hired black ops fucking private people. Yeah.
Every time I turned around, I have pictures of these
Blackwater.
dudes.
Something.
They're khaki pants.
Someone said Chris Kyle.
Chris Kyle. Okay. These dudes
It
were
was 2
everywhere.
first names. You had that right.
So they had a new they had a new outfit, but they were there basically. Is what you're saying.
it was like I could feel good guy presence and bad guy presence, whatever that means. I could feel like there was tons of innocent people, like there was tons of women and children. Like what they planned on happening, it could not go down. Like even the revolution they were trying to start or this, it could not happen. There was too many children around. Like you got, like the news is not showing that part of like people. There was people like, this is getting hot, that their calling was just to leave and be like, okay, women and children, get the fuck out of here. This is getting weird. And it was, I know the Republicans I know, the Anons I know, the people that were going there to Love Fest, they would have never put women and children in harm's way. It's not their calling. It's not their thing. So what was happening there was like, I think it was meant to be a lot worse. And if like good magic wasn't placed, it would have been. Like, I really believe
it seems
that.
like they're grasping, like the news is grasping really hard to try to find some way to demonize this whole thing. We have the event at the Capitol and everybody's just like, oh, this is a travesty. And it's like Pearl Harbor and 9/11 all rolled into one, you know, like this horrible thing that happened to the American people.
Like they've been prepping for it.
Yeah.
And then like, you know, like I was saying, I think those, every time I see them say the death count, I feel like they wanted it to be higher. Like, I feel like they're saying it as like, oh, fuck, it's only 5 or whatever. And I think
it was
even
supposed to be all of us, or they
exaggerated.
wouldn't have repeated it.
Yeah. I really felt that way. That's the other thing, though, is that, you know, as people have been pointing out, that Q is now even more demonized and like conspiracy theories in general. And it's, you know, they're deleting all these people off Twitter and like even controlling the narrative more. And they're doing it all in the name
If you're
of
anti-vaccine, you're a white nationalist KKK member.
Yeah. And they're
They're just going to like keep lumping it together.
And seriously, and like that's the other thing that doesn't make any sense. They're like, this was all just racism. I'm like, you think that many fucking people voted for this guy and this many people showed up? Because we always said, when I was doing organizing, at least for protests and whatever, that for every person there was like 3 or 4 who weren't there, you know, who wanted to be there but couldn't be, or like, you know, whatever, just couldn't make it that day or whatever happened. And so you always like tripled it in your mind of how many people are actually supporting you there. Well, that's a lot of fucking people. Like, and you just like wash it all away in your mind with racism? Like, that's how fucking stupid you are? I don't fucking understand. Just
people,
purely racist people.
Yeah. Well, however many voted for Trump, the 75 million plus your plus 3 plus 4 of people that didn't vote or didn't support but are still there, like in spirit, you know?
Yeah, because they care about whether or not our country's getting taken over by China.
That's most of the damn country.
Like the amount of Cuban women and men that I knew there, because I, you know, being in Florida and just on this kind of platform, like that, it was a socialist country that people got on rafts and tires to float to Florida to get themselves free of. They don't want socialism again.
Yeah.
The amount of like Northern European friggin' like second generation girls, like, okay, here's the revolution. So there's 2 girls standing with leather boots, like sexy leather up to their knees, 3-inch heel boots, red coats. They look like our grandmothers survived World War II in the Polish concentration camps, and we will be damned if we will let. They just look like Robert Palmer girls, just smoking cigarettes on the Capitol steps. There was a dude that looked like Hero from the TV show Heroes, like the little Asian dude. Like he was holding his country's flag. And he had his tie blowing in the wind. It was too cold for just a business suit to be enough. And he was standing at the highest point he could get to. He was being American. Like, he was there for his ancestors. It was too crazy. The scene was too crazy for, I think, they 100% planned on more people dying. They 100% planned on us massacring each other and like taking the full blame. Trump and his supporters, full blame. They should all be killed. Trump should be assassinated, and all of America would back it.
They already.
I think
seem to.
I think this. Well, the news. If we keep taking the news as our truth, if we keep looking at the news and thinking that most of the people think that, we're doing a disservice to ourselves, because no one's listening to the news anymore except the dumbest dum-dums, like the lollipops. Like
the people that think like us aren't on social media anymore. You know, like even Cheney's page that had 2,000 people or whatever, it's completely gone.
That's
you know,
true.
They hold down my Instagram page completely. You know, I've gone when I was getting hundreds and hundreds of likes to 2, 3 for the same amount of posts.
Happened to me.
And
too.
so, and that's every fucking where to every fucking body. If
Anybody
you're
who's
talking about,
ever said anything true.
exactly. So it's really, we're the vast fucking majority. And we keep growing because there's a new podcast every 30 seconds or whatever
That's
the number
true.
is. You know, and so eventually we're all just going to be going on each other's podcasts forever. And then we'll have this consensus, I guess. And they'll kick us off of Patreon. They'll kick us off of YouTube. They'll kick us off of Parler. They'll keep moving us and try to install this thing without us, because I think the vast majority of Americans and people in the world are not consenting.
I think you're
You know,
right.
so they just have to manufacture the consent and say, like, yeah, everybody wants this. Everybody's doing this. Look at all these people on Twitter talking about how great this stuff is. It's like, yeah, because there's nobody allowed on Twitter that is saying the alternative. You know, so we have this idea that the news and Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, which most of us get our information from, is somehow a realistic idea of what's actually going on in the world. But I was there for the Great Purge of 2020 when they got rid of all the QAnon people, and my the content in my feed just immediately nosedived. You know, like, and now it's just me and other podcast hosts just sharing the same stuff in circles with each other. They just like put us in a little partition.
Yeah, I feel like I've
deciding,
been
like, you guys
cordoned off.
exist over here, do whatever you want until we figure out how to kill you.
And then if
And,
I ever try to talk to someone on the other side of the little cordoned off line, they just like fucking attack me with daggers. They're like, fuck you, Trumper! I'm like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, all I said was probably 250,000 people aren't racist. Just a fucking thought. I
Yeah,
think
now you're racist for saying that.
I've been a white supremacist for a long time, apparently.
Just
I
being
actually-
white makes you
Just
supremacist.
none of my
You're
people-
born
I
that
heard-
way.
Yeah. None of my friends of color
I
know
heard
it.
from like a couple of, it was just another school of thought of like black guys that I know that they were glad that the white guys that they knew were up there, because they knew they were going to get treated different if they were up there. Like it's like we're all at this place, like we know our role, we see what's wrong. The same cops that pepper sprayed us were literally like most of the people out there were the same assholes that had their Blue Lives Matter flag on the back of their car.
Mhm.
So I just feel like whatever your idol is, it is going to fall in front of you, and be prepared because they're all coming down.
Woo.
And it's happening. And in the next 2 weeks, like, you know, if I'm writing a movie, if I'm writing this movie, and I don't know anything. I'm not even Anon enough to like be A+. Like if QAnon was a school, I'd be able to graduate. I'd be able to walk with my
You'd
class.
pass.
Yeah, I'd pass.
Not with honors. But you'd make it through.
no. Like you guys are like, whoa, this seems so. But if I was around real Anons, they'd be like, "Shh, let us keep talking. You don't even know
Yeah.
this person.
You don't even know the
But-
drop numbers. Get out of here.
It is. We are watching a movie. 2020, we can all attest, was the craziest year. Nothing's making sense. So we're
I
at
thought
this
1290 was pretty crazy.
on your time traveling journeys. 1290.
I
That
hear
was
a
the
lot
date that
about
really stuck
1290.
out.
It sounds nuts. But 2020 is up there. Definitely top 3 craziest years.
So have you guys seen this video of... Sorry, did I just interrupt?
Okay.
I'm
I'm
sorry
distracted.
because
I
I
think Jonathan
interrupted.
did. It's
We're
okay.
all-
And then
we're all
now we're
interrupting
in a
each other.
circle, a triangle of interruption.
By the way, I really appreciate that you guys have lifted me out of my depression.
Yes.
Because, good job, thank you. But this video with Mitch McConnell where he's talking about some fucking thing or another on the Senate floor, and he turns around and he looks at this man behind him who literally flashes him this symbol, yeah. And then Mitch goes... Like, he's like, it's this, like, sneaky smirk and turns around like, yes, it's time. And I'm like, dude, this shit is just fucking happening. I'm going to show it to the people
Yeah, I
watching
put
if they
that up on
haven't
our
seen it.
Instagram today.
This is it. But, like, what the
What you got in
fuck?
the
Oh,
background?
he's talking.
What the fuck?
He looks at
I don't want the noise.
eye contact.
But yeah, you see the sign. You see him turn around with a little fucking, like, knowing smirk. And then the guy's hand symbol goes away again. And they're like... So if this, I don't know who could watch that and come away thinking that these people don't all conspire, you know?
That's literally what they do for a living.
Yeah.
Everybody go to the Gunner Sergeant on YouTube. She's awesome. She does all this really heavy lip reading stuff, and you can look back to the OG State of the Union draft. Remember when Pelosi ripped up that speech?
Yeah.
Look back at that. She does all the voice, like lip reading over it. We knew Pence was bad for years. We've been screaming it. No one's listening because the Republicans didn't want to listen to us, and the liberals think Trump's is we're worshiping like.
You can trust your gut. You can just look at that motherfucker and be like, "This guy's an alien."
That's a robot.
I thought he's like my fake grandpa robot man. I just joke that he's my fake grandpa because he's just like the sweetest little old man. Like, I don't know. He has that like robot appeal.
I don't like a man with a small nose like that. I cannot get down with a man with a tiny nose like that.
Yeah,
I don't trust a small nose.
He just flies through the sky at night with one arm out, just like shooting around, like fucking spraying like Patriot dust or something. I don't know, but obviously not. But what was the name of the woman who does the lip reading? I want to look into this.
The gunner's wife.
The gunner sergeant, right? What you said? No.
Gunnery sergeant, gunner's wife. I think the gunner's wife on YouTube.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, that's awesome. Wait, so what did Pelosi supposedly say? Or is that not the point?
Yeah, it's really about Mike Pence for me in the video. It's a whole bunch of dirty people. It goes over everyone from Cory Booker to Nancy Pelosi to Mitch McConnell. Like, you see all these creeps in the room. Everybody's being a creep, and no one's on Trump's side. He's in a den of vipers. But if I'm writing this movie, I think I let Biden go all the way to the 20th, and the same set that we crashed, they are building up for his inauguration. Everyone will be there. Clinton, Obama, everybody in this whole cabal, Mitch McConnell,
George Bush Jr.
Yeah, George Bush. That would be the perfect time for real bombs to be like arrests. I don't want to see them all die. I really want to watch
not a
trial.
nuclear bomb.
I would be okay if they all died, but I get what you're saying.
We're not allowed to say that, though. We're all thinking that.
Allegedly, someone named Lindsay might be cool with that somewhere.
Yeah.
Other Lindsay.
Yeah, not me. I would never.
Lindsay with an A, not Lindsay with an E.
Exactly.
But the other thing is there has to be, we know there's all these double agents. We just got a double agent from Pence. We know there's double agents that are bad guys pretending they're good guys. Now let's think, we're the energy workers. Let's put the good guys that are pretending they're bad guys the whole time. So who would be the most fun to flip switch? And for me right now, that's Nancy Pelosi.
Dude, that would
if
be
Nancy
amazing.
Pelosi is secretly the like bomb dropper and ends up getting them all together. So here's rumors. This is alleged stuff. That when we scared the shit out of Congress and whatever their insurrection act happened from the Capitol getting when they were all leaving the Capitol, the Marines confiscated all their laptops and phones.
I've heard that.
So, and they were in direct communication with the CCP right then. So Americans were being tear gassed while they were getting orders from China.
Weird.
And the Marines have all the proof. Because the National Guard, the governor and the mayor can run the National Guard, but Trump can run the Marines specifically. That's his group. The Marines has been around longer than the United States has been around.
Wow.
So there's different levels of things going on behind the scenes. And the fact that like General Flynn spoke to us and then Donald Trump said, let's take a walk down Pennsylvania Avenue. It was very interesting. And the last song he played, here's some fun shit. So we're walking off. He says this thing, make America free again, make America, whatever his shit is. And then he says this thing, My Way by Frank Sinatra. And I was just thinking, if I'm an old crony New York gangster and I just fried the goose of these dirty demons, and you could hear everything down the whole corridor. It like echoed off the Washington Monument. How great to play My Way. And if you're a super nerd conspiracy theorist, you know for a fact that JFK was never supposed to get voted in, but Frank Sinatra was the dude who helped him get voted in.
Really?
He was the guy who held his hand and walked him through so that one good guy could get a hold of the American people.
Wow.
So there's something about like there is certain good guys that have been in place the whole time that no one's talking about. So to me, symbolically, that Trump played My Way by Frank Sinatra, the dude that helped Kennedy got elected, shooting down to that why they were going to make a vote that he knew was going to fuck them. He knew Pence was going to fuck them. We knew it. So I just think We just had to be there to make sure whatever their theater with their smoke bombs and their flash grenades that they had going off got called out with all these stupid videos we have of people standing around with skateboards.
You caught them.
Thank God.
Caught them in the act. That's what it looked like with the people breaking the windows. It was obvious there was a crescent moon of other people keeping the people from stopping them doing that. You know, like they made a little shell around these people while they were breaking the windows, and they were stopping the people from coming up and ripping the poles out of their hands, because that's what everybody in the crowd was saying. Like, stop that shit. Like, what are you doing? This is not what we're here for. Stop breaking stuff. You know, we can go through the doors and we'll do something, but we're not here to cause violence and destruction and all that. And it seemed to be that there were like little areas that we keep seeing photos from, which is why we've seen this Buffalo dude fucking 30,000 times in the past 3 days. Is because
fake ass Buffalo bitch.
Is he sexy?
Yeah. Huh?
I don't know.
Yeah.
If we didn't see him in this moment, is he sexy?
He's a good-looking guy, and he's got like the body.
Okay, I think he's kind of cute too. I'm like, I see it.
Yeah. So they chose him for a reason. But that's the other thing I've been thinking about this whole time is like what was supposed to happen and didn't happen, because you know that whole place is built in their occult fucking geometry, like to channel energy or gather energy or shoot it back up or all those fucking things. So they were going to try to pull off who knows what in this like most fucking powerful central like
solemn of places, sacred
hub.
of places,
right? So, and they even called it that. So like I just am so glad that whatever they were trying to gather energy for in order to power like did not fucking happen. Instead, a nice happy dose of like what you were describing got sent out through that giant penis into the vagina. People who just tuned in are like, what the fuck?
And I met Maya.
Yeah, and you met Maya. That's pretty funny.
She was like, real lady marmalade.
From a Palladian fucking alien lady. So this is the other thing, is now they've already, this is the thing that I'm most concerned about, that they
breaking
have done.
News.
That they have declared that they, which we knew they were going to do, but they've declared that they want to make DC a state, which I'm pretty sure is illegal. And it's weird. Johnny pointed out something very interesting, which wasn't DC Luxembourg.
Thanks,
not Luxembourg. DC, fucking Vatican.
No, Vatican and Rome.
And Rome.
I'm sorry.
No.
London, Rome.
Yes. So those are the
Sorry
three, right? Because they're extra governmental. They're outside, so they're not constrained by the same fucking whatever. I don't even really remember exactly, but isn't that a reason why they can't make DC a state? But they're already making moves to do it.
They're making moves on everything. I mean,
they've introduced legislation to do it already.
A man and a woman.
They're not
happening right now.
Yeah, that shit is ridiculous. And
it's all ridiculous.
They're praising Brahma, which I'm like, I mean, I don't care, but like, why did you choose Brahma? Because they also have like
class system.
Because they also have and the multiple faces, but they also have Shiva right in front of the fucking CERN, and like, why are they all into fucking Hindu gods and shit? I don't know.
The old
gods.
All
random.
Isn't that Kamala's thing though? Isn't she like a top Brahmin?
She's she celebrates Kwanzaa, so she's like.
I'm sure
Muslim?
She's never celebrated Kwanzaa in her fucking life. She's such a liar. Her little story about like freedom. I'm like, you stupid cunt. I would love to stab your face.
You stole that from Martin Luther King, who stole that from somebody.
Yeah, that's true too. And I'm like, it's not like that shit couldn't happen to. Sorry, I'm really preoccupied with my bangs right now.
I just like that you said loving them. Stabbing Kamala.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts out there, man. It's really crazy what's going on.
Okay, and I finally figured out that it's not Roberta Paulson who died, it's Ashley Babbitt. Because that was another thing. People were like, her name is Roberta Paulson. I'm like, no fucking way. Her name was not Roberta Paulson. This is a script. Fuck you. But it was Ashley Babbitt, so maybe it is real. That the woman who got shot actually got shot and died.
Isn't on Fight Club... Isn't his name something Paulson?
Robert Paulson. That's why I was like, that's not real. This is not real.
Her name is Sarah Paulson.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Chris Parsons, the guy that makes the music for our show, or made the music. His name is Chris Parson, and I always say Parsons because of that Parsons guy from the Disney era. But he posted something about how, they showed the picture. They always talk about The Simpsons predicting the future, and they showed the picture of Buffalo dude and then the groundskeeper Willie wearing the same outfit, the Simpsons guy.
Yeah. But
and that's not real. That's all they just added the buffaloes and stuff onto another scene of the Simpsons with groundskeeper Willie. It feels like a flood of this buffalo guy. Like we're all supposed to be thinking about Buffalo Dude for some reason.
And what are buffaloes supposed to make us like think of or do?
Horns.
But aren't
genocide?
Like the Rock.
Genocide.
Genocide. Yeah, flesh.
They killed all the motherfucking buffaloes.
That's true.
There was like 17 buffaloes left.
Why can't I find this fucking... I'm still looking for the CCP tweet as we speak too. Whatever.
I know. I have a flyer somewhere in my house from all the stuff they gave me. I almost want to go grab it. It was like, is it this?
Yeah.
Well, your motherboard was probably made by a CCP company, so it might have just gotten deleted automatically when they realized you were going to share it.
That's very true.
We are in World War III.
Well,
we are in World War III right now against China. And so it's so important that it's like all this matters. People are like, what do we need to do? What's next? This is something. This is everything matters. You just have to know we're at war. And also, we're at war with China, and they're controlling all the propaganda on the TV. So when you're arguing against people, no matter how smart or educated or conspiracy-minded or what woke you are, when you're taking stuff off the TV and arguing against people with it, you are doing their bidding because nothing on the TV is true. It is all owned by the government we're literally at war against. And they've trapped us all in our houses for a year. So it's the realest war that's ever happened in our lifetimes or in maybe our country's history. I don't know about the
POW
world.
thing you're talking about is real shit, dude. I've never thought about it like that. But as soon as you said it, I was like, oh, fuck. Everybody is in a sort of a prison.
Yeah.
Like
you are a prisoner of China in your own house right now.
That's
they
a
own
really
you.
good point.
They own your government. They own your businesses. They've shut down your
parks.
restaurants. They own your schools. They've decided what to teach your children. They own your debt. They own your social security number. They own your vaccines. They own your masks. They own every bit of anything that you input into you. They own every single system from your computers to your video games to the cars. Think about what we've done.
Yeah.
We've given away our whole country to the country we're at war with right now. And then you're looking to the enemy for the information and then arguing against me, calling me a racist.
Yeah.
What are we fucking doing? What are we fucking doing? It's stupid time. So that's why I'm not looking backward anymore. I'm looking forward. And I want to look left and right and see other lions. I'm not there for the sheep anymore. You know how you slaughter a sheep? You wake them the fuck up. Slaughter sheep, people. You want to save yourself in the name of some Christ or Lord? Read the Bible. It says slaughter a sheep. Put that blood on your shit. Wake somebody. Wake somebody. It's real life.
It's beautiful. You say it so clearly and cogently too, and it makes me very, very happy. I also was wondering if this video that, Trump tweeted of him telling everyone to go home. Remember, he's like, everybody be peaceful and go home or whatever. That's what I remember from it, at least. And someone's like, you didn't watch it then. And I'm like, I did, though. And I don't usually, because I try not to really fucking actually pay that much attention to what specific politicians actually say. Maybe that's to my detriment, but, that's how I've been for a while now. And I did actually watch it, though. And these people were saying, no, he said to go take the Capitol with force at all costs. And I'm like, that is not what I saw.
Well, they conveniently deleted...
Yeah.
Several of the tweets, and
they
you
deleted
couldn't
it.
see what he said.
And I also wonder how many people saw this version and how many people saw that version, and how much shit. 'Cause we know they're tailored shit to us, right? We know that Google results are different depending on who it is searching and where they're at and what time of fucking day it is and all the other things. They control exactly what we see, and I wonder if it's detailed now.
I just, as a aside, was trying to download Windows 10 onto a flash drive because I just built a new computer and I finally got it turned on. Yeah, it should be working tonight if I don't get too drunk. I'll figure the rest of it out and download the operating system and all that stuff. But as I was on the website, I was using Firefox, which I've used for several years. And it's like Firefox just blocked a fingerprint reader that was trying to take your fingerprints. Because my mouse pad has a fingerprint thing on it. And so apparently, just like a cookie or whatever website permission, they can get permission to take my fingerprints too. And it's the same thing with my camera. It has facial recognition. And so how many times have I logged into Google Chrome and then they took my fingerprints and they took my facial recognition and they messed it up, and they're just building files on everybody and
so they can
storing them
sort
away
you into the right fucking camp and shit, or company,
Yeah.
whatever. I'm sure they'll make us work.
Yeah, like I feel like I used to be really segregated from like Conspiracy Castle Alex Stein on Instagram, like back before the big purge. Like I had a hard time seeing all these people and even searching for their names and stuff. And now it's like I only see posts from these people that used to be the ones I never see posts from. So it's like this little circle that they've made around us, walled us in, they circled the wagons.
Instagram makes you a stalker. You're like, all of a sudden, like, I'm on, Idiocalypse. Thank goodness that this would be a good case scenario. And I'm like it, oh my gosh, I just like 5 Idiocalypse in a row. And then I'm like, am I on Idiocalypse page? No, I'm on my feed, but it's so segregated now. And I'm only getting
it's crazy. I don't get any new stuff coming. Like it used to be a bunch of like the hashtags I followed, it would bring new stuff, and like my hashtag conspiracy that I followed, there's like 95% of the stuff that comes through there, it's just some like random ass story about something that doesn't matter. And every once in a while I'll see like Woke Breed or somebody who's a 300,000 follower alternative account that is allowed to still exist for some reason. I don't know, like it feels very, very tailored in the last 12 months. Like everything's been chopped off, and we've gotten rid of all the variables, like the stuff that could come in accidentally because of the hashtags and stuff. Like, nope, clean that. Got rid of any weird hashtags. Like Jeffrey Epstein did not kill himself. Everybody shut the fuck up. Like we're deleting all this stuff, and you're not allowed to talk to anybody but people that agree with you specifically.
Yeah, or the few people we know that you'll interact with and that will like fucking hate you even more and block you finally. Because we want them to block you, because we hope that they don't get exposed to your...
That's what happens when I go on Facebook. When I go on Facebook, it like just puts all this stuff from like the 4 people in my life, because I, come from a small town in Texas, and most of the people on my Facebook are conservative-minded people. And so unless I interact with them a lot, all I'm seeing is like the people that are like, finally, Trump is out of office and we can get things to right. And it's like this. I know this is not like a accurate selection of my friends.
Yeah.
Like I know who my friends are, and you're just showing me like these 6 people, and that's all that see my post. I used to get hundreds of likes over there, and now I get 4 or 5, and I'm just in this little walled off area where I get to play still for now.
Yeah, for now we're allowed.
It's almost smarter of them. If I were running their systems, I would segregate us off into a group rather than make us think we were ever banned or barred. I would just have computer algorithm keep following us, so we stayed with a thing and we thought we were getting out to a wider audience. I wouldn't keep taking the accounts down.
Yeah.
That just makes it crazy. It's making people, and the funniest part about the people when they get deleted, and I did it too, it's like you get deleted, when you come back you're so enraged and you're like, Pizzagate, you're all hard in the paint, you're like so pissed that you're like, this is all being ran by fucking pedophiles, and you're so pissed and incensed that your family and friends that have known you forever, they know you're educated, they know you read shit, they trust you in every other form of life, but for some reason about this thing they just can't. But it's like their question and their berating and their constant harassment, I believe deep down their little light of spirit in them, the reason it is even reaching out to you at all to argue is because deep down it wants fucking truth from you, and it knows it can find it. Otherwise that door isn't open anymore. That bridge is blown up. But if they keep reaching out, you just have to figure out a better way to put yourself in their shoes of fear.
They didn't burn the bridge. They blew that motherfucker up.
I feel you too, though. Like because I wonder sometimes. I'm like, why are you still fighting with me after all these years or whatever? Like, why do you even talk to me at all if you already know for sure what you know for sure? And like, you know what I mean? And like, I'm pretty fucking open-minded, honestly. Like, you could probably pose anything to me and I'd at least like consider it for a moment, because I'm not attached to like whatever the fuck. But like, why are you keep coming back for more, And so I think you are definitely hitting on something there, that there is some door still open. And that maybe that is something that we can hold on to for some hope. Because I seriously look around at people and I'm like, I don't even really have hope for you. Like, your mind has been like fucked into mash and you're just like oozing through cracks in the ground. And I don't even know how you could like pick that up and reconstruct it. Like, I think you're fucking lost, because I don't care what you think. I just like want you to think. That's all. Like, no one's thinking. They're just like, this is what's absolutely true no matter what. I'm like, nah, is that really a safe place to stand?
This is, I mean, we're just at this place now, so I'm going to give normies a little tip that the Anons use to wake people up is the way you get. Oh, I think, whatever. I think the way you get through people's cognitive dissonance is by questioning them. And I don't think it's by berating and questioning what the media is telling us to question. So it may seem really stupid to people, and like anyone who's chatted with me online in the last year, like sometimes my first question might be like, wings or gills? Do you want to be a mermaid? Do you want to be an angel? What would happen tomorrow if you had all the money in the world?
Yeah.
Like sometimes just these simple questions to go back to that, when you can get your brain to attach both sides again and start opening those channels, that is like the key. It's not about berating them with information. It's about questioning them and getting them to remember the reason we have a brain is because we're supposed to question everything. That's what's so beautiful about us being human. And the more authentic we are to who we are as a human, then if you're authentic and if I'm authentic and if Jonathan's authentic and we're all sitting here and we're all authentic, now we have some real piece of God between us.
Yeah.
If we're all being fake fucking robots, there's no God. Like whatever our filter was that we chose to come into this avatar is now gone. So there's a real reason that we have to be here with all the senses we have, with all the sorrows we felt, with all the pain we've gone through. And we have all chosen to be here for now. And I don't think we lose this time. I'm not willing to lose this time. Like, and I'm not worm food. I believe there's a God. I believe we're all attached. I believe in magic. Something's up and I can feel it. I can feel it rush through me with like a new knowledge and a new, I'm just sure of something that I feel like I've been searching for my whole life, and all the books didn't do it. It's just a feeling.
It's a gnosis
it's just a feeling
that you have to experience to know.
Yeah.
You did it.
I don't know. It's crazy. And I honestly feel like on this show, on the Idiocalypse, and with people that I've talked to and weird human diaries that I've used in a really vulnerable way with some people that I don't even know their real name.
Like the three Amish guys.
I feel like my spiritual awakening has literally happened in the last 6 months and everybody has witnessed it. I've gone from all logic person to like, oh my God, I have all these other fucking feelings and I'm attached to all these people and I can just think about people and like send them energy and I can feel their energy. And this is heady as fuck. And I feel like a baby in it and I love it. I love just being new to this whole idea of, like no amount of books is going to teach me how to feel.
It's already all there.
And I fucking love it.
It's just waiting for you to align the receptors or to like think in the proper way, and then it's all there all the time. You know, that's why that we have the constant struggle against us and against free thought and against free will and against free speech and all of these censors coming down, because if we were just allowed to hang out with our friends right now and to go to parties and stuff and like actually talk with people, then it would be very easy to dissolve all this stuff. All of the constructs and the new normals and things that they're trying to build only exist because we're being fed this reality through our devices, most people. And so they're just receiving this thing that's perfectly tailored to them. You know, we're hearing all about quantum computing right now. Like, oh, China's ahead. Germany just did some quantum computing miracles. And now Microsoft is catching up in the quantum computing field. Like that shit's been here for 20 years, and they have these algorithms, and they can literally dissect every single person, and they put you in contact with the people that you are acquainted with, even if you only met them once at a party. Like the ones that are gonna show up in your feed are the ones that you're gonna argue with or agree with. You know, like they're manipulating us on an emotional level constantly. Like they know how our pupils react because they have these amazing sensors that can not only read our faces, but read our fingerprints, and they know like our body temperatures, and they know all the stuff about it. That we have Fitbits and whatever the fuck Joe Rogan wears and all the stuff. It's just like, and then they're going to inject us with chips, and then they know us from the inside, and the endorphins are high, and you know, like they're going to know us. They're just going down and down how to really understand us. Hack us. We're being fucking hacked.
But I love what Cheney was saying about that little bit inside of us, and what you were saying, Jonathan, about like they're keeping us away from each other for a reason, because they know that little bit like vibrates in sympathetic vibration with all the other little bits around it, and so like you can't. We were on a walk today, and you know, people are like either wearing their masks, which I find fucking insane, even if you like masks, like you're outside by yourself. But anyway, people are either wearing masks, and so you know they're going to stay far away from you, or else they're not, and you're like pretty sure they're going to walk right by you. So these people came, there's two of them, and they both had masks, and I was like, well, they're going to go way around us. But the guy like stayed hella close and came even closer, like as we like passed, and I was like, his soul like wanted a little bit of vibe, you know? Like, yeah, I was like, please, like, just let me be near you. And so I was almost like, I slowed down like a little, like, yeah, you can have some more of this, buddy. Like, I feel bad because I think people are desperate for something and they don't even know what it is, you know? Like, he will never know maybe why he, like, felt like he needed to come just a little bit closer. Like, it's sad. But I think you're absolutely right, Jamie, that we're all, you know, have that, like, access point basically, and that like Jonathan said, when we are aligned to it, like we can fucking like understand anything, see the truth in anything, see the lies in anything, like understand. It's like a lot, it's like I've experienced, and a lot of people say like you like learn something sort of spiritual or esoteric even, and you'll be like, it's so weird, like I think I already knew this but I know I'm just learning it right now for the first time, you know, but like I already knew this. Like you really do have that in you. Everybody does. Everybody does.
Yeah, I think that, and I'm maybe not a believer in the fact that everything was perfect at one point in the past, but I know that human civilization has risen to the point that shit worked really well, and people were able to like express themselves and search their true calling, and not have any really barriers to that, not needing to provide food or needing to provide money. Like we've already figured out civilization a bunch of times where we can just like vibe and think about shit and hang out with cool people and advance the whole thing, you know? And I think that was most of the time, you know, like our genetic memory is 95% of us just being cool as fuck, and like 5 or 10% of us like being through these weird transition periods, which is what I feel like we're in right now. Like it's like an octave, just like a musical scale, and there's whole notes and there's half notes, you know, there's flats and sharps, but then there's whole notes, and the whole notes obviously sound whole, and the flats and sharps obviously sound discordant. And so I feel like we're just in that place right now, this discordant phase that's necessary for us to make it to the next whole note. But then that's where we spend most of our time, is in the whole notes, because that's where all the good music come from. The half notes and the sharps and stuff are just like to add depth and you know, like more content or like new things, novel ideas. But the vast majority of our existence is in this peaceful, transcendent state, and that's what all of our genetic memory remembers. That's why we all feel like we were trapped out of Eden, or like the apocalypse has to come soon because this is wrong, you know, like this is wrong, and that they know that everything's wrong, so they're giving us like, oh, you need a new normal because of how wrong everything is. It's like,
must
no, we
not
don't
need movie theaters anymore, right? Right, everyone?
Yeah, or any social gathering places, because here you go, Facebook just made a VR thing, and we have a marketplace, and we have our own currency, and you don't even need to go outside. You know, you can just live here in our little space.
Oh, it's terrifying. I mean, their vision is terrifying. I think what will actually happen will be probably just fine. I don't know. I had like a weird thing happen. A lot of weird things happened in one day, and this guy, I think I've told this story before, but this guy was giving like his talk in like this fucking room in this spiritual fucking expo that I never go to and would have never gone to, but shit just worked out that day that's where I was, and I was like, meh, okay. And so I was in this room, this guy's talking, and I'm like, and he's pretty cool, and he's talking about like acupressure points and different things, and then all of a sudden I see a little light orb come through the wall and like hover near him, and then it just like dropped into his head, and all of a sudden he started speaking like still in his voice, obviously still his body, but like very differently. And I was like, did anybody else fucking like see this at all? Like, does nobody's like freaking out or like this isn't weird to anyone, you know? And he's like, and he starts talking, and it's just a very different tone to the content all of a sudden. Like he's all of a sudden talking about like how everything has always been a beautiful melody or whatever, and everything's always been blah, blah. And then like, you know, we're coming into this time and it feels very bad and dark. It's very slow and it's very like disjointed seeming and dense. And like, But we're going to go through that, and it's going to get darker and denser, but like you never really have to worry about it because the light is always here and blah blah and all this shit. And I was like, wow, like this is it. He's like, and you know, by 2033 Christ consciousness will have returned and everything will go back to like being good or whatever. And I was like, 2033. And then the little light fucking left his head, and the guy like shook his head, and he was like, that wasn't me, that was Sai Baba. And then he just kept talking, and I was like, what the fuck just happened? Like,
why is his name Sai Baba?
Yeah. And then I learned apparently Sai Baba's like a big deal, and he's like an actual person, and that guy, like, I don't know. And I was like, full fucking Sai Baba told me that 2033, but that's 12 years away. And I don't want that to be the date.
Chickens, rabbits,
Yeah.
gardens. That's
True.
the meantime. I really think that we can do all the marches and protests and fights and let's get our guns or whatever, but I feel like the violence begets more violence. And I am naturally a violent person. Like I feel like on the inside, like
I get violent.
my solution is just like, well, let's just kill those motherfuckers.
Yeah.
You know, like,
That's how I feel.
they're causing
Like,
a lot
I
of
don't
trouble.
actually want to be the one to do it, but I want them to die. Like,
I'll pull it. I've already decided if I have to carry the darkness for us for the next
Allegedly.
6,000 years, I'll pull the lever so that and you guys can just all surround me in light. And
Yeah.
I'll pull the lever. I'll take
I didn't tell her to
the
do
run
it.
that I have
She
to do
just
this
pulled it.
another 6,000. I'll come again the next 6,000. Get the next realm
I
to come
love
up just to pull the lever.
I've had the exact same thought, so that's pretty fucked up. We're both like,
Dude,
whatever, it's whatever
When
it
we were in
takes.
Washington, I really thought at one point when before Trump's speech was finished, I knew Pence was gonna. Anyone that's on my page, we all knew Pence was gonna sell us downriver. We knew it.
You could tell by the way Trump said it.
I didn't know, but I don't pay that.
I had
like
a
I said, very
fear.
close attention.
My biggest fear was that we were walking down to the Capitol for him to say this in front of us, and I thought we were gonna have to watch him get Gaddafi.
That's what
And
I was
I
wondering.
I was like, I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready to take part in that. And I'm not ready to watch my fellow Americans have to sit with the that energy for the
That
rest of their
trauma,
life. Like
yeah.
there was something there was so many different things. I feel like we've done this on so many timelines. This is the only one where we made it out okay and it made it to here. Like, I think it has gone awry so many different times. I feel like every weird feeling of like, I felt like I was standing on a powder keg. I felt like it the whole day. And I believe everybody else felt like it too. It's like there was this love energy that was creating, but we all knew we were standing on tunnels. We all knew we were standing on ritual sites. We all knew we were standing in the middle of an owl's face. We all knew we were walking down it was like the people that knew that were there. This is the first time we've put ourselves in harm's way that we were like, here we go, facial recognition. Here's me. Conspiracy Cheney out there for the world to see doing this, not breaking a window, not inside my Capitol, not doing anything that I shouldn't do, completely legal, completely known, not anonymous anymore. That's the biggest part of this movement, I think, was around all these other people that we all started someplace so different behind some picture and some fake thing, and we weren't anonymous anymore. Like our faces mattered, and me picking this avatar that has been my Achilles heel in so much of life and so much
Chicken head.
sorrow of just being like a lesbian in this world, like so much of my life that I thought I'll never be able to marry the person I love. But then I live in a country that regardless of what everyone can consider natural law or sovereign or what I'm allowed to do, that isn't the case in the world. I live in a country that allowed me to do it. Like God gives us freedoms, and then sometimes good governments protect those freedoms. And if people stop paying attention to those governments, 100% of the time they'll become corrupt. And so somewhere our government the tail started wagging the dog. And that day on Washington, that was the first time in our lifetimes we've seen that tail wag. That's the first time we've seen it. It might be panic and the TV might be telling you a different thing, but I guarantee you this story plays out a lot different. We have 2 weeks. You're watching 10 movies at once, and it is going to be the best thing you've ever seen. Everybody's playing their part. Be there for all the people that are panicking. If you know that your government's run by satanic pedophiles, if you think that Project Looking Glass is real, if you believe in magic, get ready because people are fucking going to panic. Everything that their foundation of beliefs is going to be thwarted. And no one, every single person on the whole planet fucking hates waking up. It doesn't matter. Everyone's grouchy 100% of the time. If somebody wakes you up, no matter how they wake you up, they could tap you nicely. They could be like, Lindsay, Jonathan, you got to get up. You're like, I hate you. Not pleasant. And so just treat them that way. Treat them that way. I love the idea of like our job up here, if we had these wings, and if we're really going to this fifth dimensional place, our job with our wings isn't to fly higher than them. Our job with our wings is to make room for them.
Pick them up.
Like, yeah, like just clear space for them. Like, we know how heavy the darkness is. We've fucking been in it. We can feel it. So clear it out for them. Don't make it heavier on them. Don't put all your fucking fears and all the things you know to be true on them. Hear them out. Let them tell someone and be validated for why they're scared, because they're telling you for a reason. And then maybe, like a child, like hold their hand and like walk them. Like, there's no reason to be scared of the dark anymore. The same way you would tell a kid having a night terror. Don't fucking, like, you don't kick them, you don't slap them, you don't tell
The
them they're
night is
stupid.
dark and full of terrors.
Yeah.
You're right, kid. Everything's
The
horrible.
monsters aren't real. The monsters aren't real. There aren't monsters in your closet. There aren't monsters in your bed. Go back to sleep and shut you back in the dark. That's a shitty parent. So if you actually know more info than the person next to you, do something with it. Be kind. Be fucking kind. It's the best kind of weed. Everybody loves it. Like, be kind. Like,
Kind weed. Be kind weed.
yeah.
I feel like that. Like I have a brother that's schizophrenic, and he's my closest living relative. So we spent a lot of time together, and we're very close, but also very distant because of the thing. And he's like the only person in the world for a long time that could make me mad. You know, like after living with him for so long, I just couldn't get mad at anybody else. It's like, well, you're not my crazy schizophrenic brother that knows every perfect thing to say to like really light me off. Like, the madder he is, the worse that it's going to be, the deeper cuts, you know, like he will use whatever is at his disposal. And so I met my wife, my lovely wife, and then she has this like anger thing that she got from her parents that is really powerful. And I realized that I just keep getting put in this situation. Like, I left my family, I left my brother, and here I am with another person that has this like explosive response to things. And my gut first reaction with my brother and with my wife is to like, fuck you. Like, how dare you talk to me like that? You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to start from this other place, and then I'm going to beat you down with my knowledge and stuff. But it never works ever in either situation. Like, it never works me coming from this place of like, no, I'm right, you're wrong, you're crazy. And I'll just explain it to you in this very rational way, and then you understand. And that's just not how it works. You can't explain to these people in a very rational way what's going on. You know, it's like some other higher level thing, like a trick we have to do to not get sucked in to the anger, you know, to not like, because then you just pick a camp, you know, you pick a side, and then you're like, no, it's like this from this perspective, so you're wrong.
Then you're just stuck in
But
reaction.
they've done the same thing, you know, they've done the same thing. They've done their own thought processes, whatever those are. Maybe it's just watching CNN, but they've gone through some kind of gnosis, even if it's tiny, to get to the point where they're at, to understand what they understand, and that's all that they can see. And so you have to come at it like, I don't know, like meet them where they're at constantly, you know, like never reach and never grab and never pull and never condone or condemn or whatever. But like, I don't know, it's a very delicate thing. It's subtle energy stuff. This is what we're never taught about, you know. We hear about nuclear fission and all this stuff, but really the subtle energies are the things that are running this whole show. And that's the ones we need to, like, that we all have our senses for, you know. We all have intuition and stuff, and we can read them and we can feel people. And just like Cheney's saying, like, the whole place is wired in this other realm of stuff going on. And it's not to freak out and let's burn the Capitol down because our guy didn't get elected, you know. Like, that's what they wanted to happen. They wanted some kind of crazy fucking event and murder and slaughter and anger, and it was there. And, you know, it was probably being blasted through loudspeakers and subsonic levels and stuff just to try to agitate this whole thing. And then the people were just praying it away and believing it away and having faith that theirs was the right thing and they didn't get sucked in. And I think that's what broke the magic, is that, you know, we have this huge amount of brainwashing tools. You know, they spend so much money and so much time controlling this. Like, I talk about this a lot, but I feel like the frame rate that my screen gives me information at, you know, like the things that I'm seeing, even that is some kind of like programming.
It's a fire.
mode.
It flickers at the same rate as fire, which you're literally programmed to respond to and pay attention to, because otherwise you might die. You might die without it, and you might die from it. So it's like...
And there's a real magic of fire staring. Like, there's a real magic.
For
like,
sure.
I believe, like, just in my, I have no proof on this, but I just believe that all this artificial light, whether it's Tesla or Edison, we don't need it. And so the more that we depend on it, our eyes are fucked up. And I think naturally we used to just stare into the dark and it was normal. And I think when we looked into fire, in the same way, if you've done a float tank, or there's certain times we're in darkness that our human, like, we start seeing things. Like, your brain we say your brain creates it because it's darkness, but maybe you just start seeing it
It was
again.
always there.
And, yes, and I think there's a
We're
real
blinding
thing, like,
ourselves.
yeah, we're scared of the dark. They've almost done it on purpose. The same way they've made us scared of the ocean with Jaws. They made us scared of the dark with a monster. They made us scared of the woods with a bear.
They made us scared of the air with COVID-19.
They made us scared of sex by cutting off men's penis.
Not me. I love sex.
Woo!
Not me with a penis.
You guys
never
are
take that
reminding
away.
me of all the things that I used to know and just like sometimes forget in moments of darkness like this, where I'm like, fuck everybody, you fucked up, I'm giving up on you, and I'm like, fuck all this shit, you're brainwashed motherfuckers, and then I'm like, oh yeah, that's not in any way helpful to anybody.
We came here.
You feel good for a little while.
Yeah.
No, I really believe, like, we came here because we have family. And it's not our blood. It's not just people that, like, we came out of their womb or we grew up in the same house. Like, we have people that are, like, have been pushed into our lives right now for some reason, and we are not leaving this lifetime without them. Like, we are not elevating to the next plane, because I do believe, like, it will peel away and we'll end up in a reality, and this reality will exist for some people that don't feel like coming with us, and their reality will go on how it does and ours will be in another place. And I believe we picked our avatars. We came here on this timeline to save people, and that is our job. We chose it. There's nothing else to do this lifetime but save souls. And for some reason, all of us are here with whatever information, whatever feelings. We knew it from when we were kids. We still know it now in our age. And we're meeting more people that feel and think and are validating this reality. So it sucks sometimes that the people that our Facebook page says is our bestie best are the people that hate us right now. But then we have these complete strangers that we've only known for a few months, and they get us in an intimate way that maybe we've never even expressed to people that have known us for 20 years. And so I do think your energy, like, you do have loss, but you're supposed to experience the sorrow. I think, like, sorrow and grief is one of the biggest things of love. Like, being able to feel heartbreak, you have to love something to feel that. And there's something beautiful with it. So I think it sucks sometimes when you have holes and you have to let people go. But if you do it kind, they'll come back, I promise. And I promise other bigger, powerful, beautiful, special, magical energy will refill it. It's like we're all going to different places. But if you believe it, the second you have faith in it, it's like I didn't know Lindsay was going to send me energy, and I didn't know it was going to be the energy I needed to fucking walk myself home for 2.5 hours to the scariest situation of my life. And
Neither
I thought,
did she.
Yeah, no.
yeah. I don't know why that I thought of that moment when the Pleiadian lady was like, you have to touch that monument. And then one of the few pictures that got out of the whole fucking day that it said sent, I was like, oh, good. I knew it had to be sent. Like, like, I knew that fucking monument was powerful, and I knew they were doing dirty shit with it. And whatever happened, like, it was all thwarted because of all these people and all their parts. And I was just one tiny piece of the fractal. And I just happened to be a fractal with super cold feet that was standing there. But
super cold feet and super cool hair.
No, I had ego before I went that, like, at first, for like, everybody should be doing this. Fuck the people that can't go. We should all be sacrificing for this. Fuck that. And that shifted somewhere where I'm like, no, it's like, this is your calling to carry. Like, everybody else has you can't judge. The second you sit in judgment instead of observation. I actually heard Nikki from One Cosmic Love, who was on our show a few weeks back. I was listening to her thing today, and she like put into words what was going on in my head that I felt the whole time in DC. I wasn't judging anyone. I was in observation of all of them, whether they were Antifa, whether they were MAGA, whether they were Anons, whether they were whoever they were. I was just putting myself in their shoes of feeling their feels, and most of the energy was very pure and very good, regardless. The militiamen, the fucking Proud Boys, like, everyone was there fighting for their people. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. And it wasn't racist. And it was one of the most beautiful things I was ever a part of. Wow. Even the scary parts. Like, at one point on the Capitol, which they won't put any of this out, it was chaos. Chaos. It was just like people hanging off rafters everywhere, and just noise and bangs and sirens and popping and smoke. And all of a sudden, from the furthest back lakes, the furthest away, they started singing like God Bless America or the national anthem or some shit. And as it led all the way up, everybody stopped. And it was like this old wives' tale I heard once about a battlefield, and it was like Christmas Day, and they started singing Amazing Grace on the battlefield, and everyone put their guns down for just the song. Yeah. But it just stopped for a minute. That's what happened. And everybody stopped, and everybody cried. Men, like veterans, old men, were taking their hats off. Like, it was like looking around. I couldn't even sing along. I was just observing. And it was captivating why everyone was there. And some people were willing to spill their blood to not lose their country or freedom. And it was bigger than a mask.
I think most of those people
COVID.
There.
Wow. What a fucking amazingly beautiful story. You're right. That's never going to be put out on the news. People will never hear about that. And if they could hear about it, how much would it change, like, their really warped perception that this was somehow a bunch of racists just wanting racism? I don't even understand how you think that. There was no social
distancing. Like, most of the masks that were being worn were to stop from getting tear gassed at that point. It was weird that there was so much high energy, but it was so much love. And it was like, I don't know. I think there's a real spirit that exists in our country, and it exists all over the world. This is happening in Parliament in the UK, and the news isn't going to tell you. If we keep relying on this source to give us the truth, we're doing a disservice to ourselves and humanity. Like, we really have to rely on each other. And, like, we have to break the internet. Like, we're Kim Kardashian. Like, take it away. It doesn't matter how you feel about your fucking president. If a president isn't allowed to speak, that should scare every fucking person on the planet.
That's what I'm saying.
It doesn't matter how you feel.
Yeah.
That started with Alex Jones or whatever, and they were like, well, he's fucking crazy and he, like, hurts people. I'm like, well, he doesn't.
Now it's the president. 2 years later.
Yeah, exactly. Slippery slope.
That was fast. That was fast. Who's next? All of us are fucking next. Yeah. Every single person. You're not going to be allowed to think something different.
And you tell yourself, like, well, I'm not saying dangerous things, so not me. And I'm like, well, as soon as they come for anything of yours that you stand up for, yeah, you. Because that's the whole fucking point of having principles, is that they apply consistently, right? And you have the principle of free speech, and so you should apply it consistently. Otherwise, you don't value it, and you don't want it, and you don't get it. The end.
Look at us out. I mean, if anyone in our audience, if somebody's new here watching this show right now, if anyone out there knows the three people we are, yeah, like and subscribe, go to rogueways.org. But if anyone knows us as people, to put into the category that the media is putting us in, you know better and you should be ashamed of yourselves.
Exactly. Like you can't.
You know better. You know us. You fucking know us. Like we've been there. We fought on your side. It's like, what are we doing anymore? Like you're brainwashed enough that it's not about Trump anymore.
Yeah.
You think I'm a racist?
Yeah.
You think I'm sexist? You really think that where are we at right now? That you don't trust me? The one asshole who I didn't have kids so I could keep looking into conspiracies. I'm just like, you don't trust me?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I understand why people's feelings are hurt, but you have to take your ego out of like the truth, like being you personally. You just have to figure out a way to get them there. It's not us personally. They don't hate us personally. The media's successfully brainwashed them.
Nothing is personal.
It's not personal.
Not at all.
No.
Like
once we're all part of the
came here to do
Borg,
this.
there's no personal at all. Sorry.
Yeah, and you will own nothing, and you will be happy about it.
You will love it. I love how they just
That's-
like try to spin all of that. They're like, you'll love digital currency and you'll love fucking being hooked up constantly to the fucking network or whatever. And you'll love like our absolute, like beyond any communism or socialism we've ever had before. Like you literally
Wouldn't it be great if somebody
have
could
nothing.
turn your credit card off if you farted on an airplane? You'll love it.
You'll love this. Watch.
Okay.
Or like this is why we had fucking Black Mirror, so dark-minded people could like look into the future that could be and be like, whoa, we don't want to go down there. Like I thought, but apparently,
No.
I've
Apparently.
had people I love that love me. I know they love me. Tell me that I deserve to get censored on social media for the stuff I post.
wow. Why? Like what? That's what I've never understood about the people who are arguing for censorship. Like my mom and her boyfriend argue for it too, and I'm like, how? Like for what? Like what do you mean? And they literally will say that there's people who are smarter than us, who know better than us, and
Have you
know
tried
what we should
punching
say or
them?
not. I'm just like, I don't even know how to argue with that. Like if that's what you think, that there are people who are smarter and better than you that deserve to decide what you can say,
It's literally what they think.
that's what you think. That's what they told
Like-
me.
That guy Brandon from the Dangerous World podcast, shout out to those guys. That
What's
was
up?
on our Super Stream with you, Lindsay, and Super Stream with Palooza, whatever the fuck we called it.
That was
A lot
rad.
of people.
Which
That was
everybody loved. It was so fun.
It was
It
really
was a
fun.
lot of fun.
I wish I could stay
A lot of fun.
longer, but I'm a sleepy person.
Yeah, I don't know how we do it, honestly. And he was the same way, you know, like Graham specifically asked that question, like, what about the censorship? And he never answered it. But you could just tell he was like, it's good because you guys are retarded. You know, like, y'all don't know. Y'all are saying the wrong stuff, so you need to shut the fuck up because this is the right stuff over here. We've already decided this is what the right stuff is. And so if you're saying something besides the right stuff, then you're obviously crazy. And it's just like the story that maybe is here to scare us, but maybe is true in UK, but it's not the first time it's happened that people get put into a mental asylum, you know, like a woman for most of the last like 600 years who decided to speak clearly in public. We're like, oh, this bitch is crazy.
Ah, yeah.
Either burn her or lock her up forever, like one or the other.
Not okay. Well, that
Yeah, but that's
I've been
what they're
hearing the
doing.
same for doctors in Europe are being disappeared and put into institutions and being labeled as mentally unstable because they're questioning COVID. And I'm like, so this is what I don't understand about people, and except that it's coming from a place of fear, like you were saying, Cheney. Like waking up is terrifying and horrible. So like they don't want to do it. So like if you tell them like, well, why are doctors literally being put into insane asylums and disappeared and being found dead for questioning COVID all across Europe consistently? Why? You know, is it because COVID is so real and so dangerous that they're doing that to protect us? Or is it because almost no one has died and these people are starting to poke holes in their narrative and so they need to get rid of them? Like it seems pretty fucking obvious when you look
Or
at it.
here's some things. Who's the head of the whole entire coronavirus task force? Is it
Bill Gates.
Mike Pence?
Yeah.
It's fucking Mike Pence. It
Is it?
literally is Mike Pence.
Oh.
Donald Trump is so smart that he knew this thing was such a sham that he put him in charge of it.
He's like, I don't want to be involved with this bullshit.
I don't want this. Okay, all this vaccine push, all this bullshit. Who's the one dude that hasn't sat on TV and gotten a needle stuck in his arm, but actually went to the hospital and survived COVID in 3 days? Donald motherfucking Trump. So why don't you guys start watching the reality star? That's what he's put there for. Because Americans are so dumb, they'll only pay attention to the number one. It was either Kim Kardashian or Donald. We're just here now.
Not you specifically, American. We're talking about the other Americans.
Yeah.
No one fucking paid attention for so long. So you can keep telling me all the stuff the news tells you Donald Trump says, or you can look at actions, because to me, actions are more important than fucking words. I listen to fucking words all fucking day, but I watch very little action. But I see one dude who doesn't lose very much, who actually got COVID, who didn't get a vaccine, who talked about hydroxychloroquine from the beginning, which back to the doctors you were talking about that got murdered, billionaires that own the hydroxychloroquine company from Canada got murdered in their friggin' canoes. You know, it's like, come on, everyone.
Yeah.
This conspiracy has been going on so long that it's like, if you're somebody new to the game over the last 700 days, you do not want to draw your sword with me. I don't want to play anymore. I'm not here to argue. I know facts. I know truth. And I also have this whole other intuition and feelings and fucking magic that it's like, oh, I have feels. I got real feels. So we're in a new level of territory, and I'm not fucking playing with Black Mirror, Anderson Cooper, Rachel Maddow, Fox News educated bullshit anymore. We're in a new playing field, and it's here right now. It's this.
This is it.
This is the new form. When the vacuum of fake media leaves, this is the new way you sheep will become lions, is by watching lions fucking hunt. And this is how it happens. This is how conversation happens. This is what humans used to do. And I know, like, we've sat together, the three of us, and talked about Washington used to be people like us with soapboxes, and that's how the politicians used to make their decisions.
Yeah, but first it was us in coffee shops, in our houses, and fucking salons and backyards, just hanging out, doing this. I mean, like, oh shit, yeah, it is fucked up that the British can just say whatever they want. They're not even over here. This is our fucking place. Whatever. Maybe that's a fake story, probably, but like all that, all that stuff like happens because of this, and now they have had to stop it. You know, we've had the Hong Kong thing that was just blowing up. Like they were going to take Hong Kong back. And so they're like, oh, fuck, virus, you know, and it wasn't just there. It was France, and the United States was getting close, you know, and QAnon was taking off, and it was popping off everywhere at the same time. And so they're like, no, we got to put a stop on this. We got to put the lid on it, lock that shit down. COVID, everybody stay in your houses. But it's like, okay, so now we're going to do it through our electromagnetism. We're going to tap into the ley lines. We're going to send our information through, like we're looking at each other through these cameras and stuff, but we're also connecting on these other higher levels with these people that we would have connected with.
I feel you guys. Like,
Yep.
I feel like I feel you guys.
I know.
All right.
That's what it is.
Sorry.
So whatever they try to lock us into is like, okay, well, we'll just go this way.
Yeah. They're like, oh, you want me to pull out the fucking big guns? We'll fucking watch this. And we're like, blam, spiritual plane.
Yeah.
Dream organizing.
Yep. I'm not even involved in that. Just go to sleep. And then wake up, I was like, yeah, that was a good meeting.
I
Good job,
totally
guys.
feel it. I totally feel it. Sometimes I'm like, wow, what fucking happened last night? That was heavy shit. I guess I'll find out in the next few years or so.
No, we worked it out.
I don't know. I think it's a big collective. I think everybody chose to be here for right now. I think we're in really heavy, big times. But as long as we keep letting the Black Mirror dictate reality instead of looking outside, how many of those videos went out when they were like New Year or whatever? I don't even New Year's Eve in Seattle, and they were like, look at this whole thing, and people were like, here's outside my window right now.
Yeah.
That's what I felt like was going to happen in Washington, D.C. if we didn't have all of our phones there.
Yeah.
And all of your souls there, more importantly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Magic.
I love how you describe it too.
High
Like
magic.
you were one fractal of this giant conglomeration of people who are all drawn there for that exact reason. And how fucking cool of a feeling to be surrounded by that many people who are actually really woke. Not like the woke fucking thing they throw around in like media, but like woke to their spiritual self and truth in the world and are there for that purpose right then. Like that's amazing. To hear you describe that is amazing. I don't think anybody understands that. I haven't heard anything like that except from you, and so I hope lots of people share this and tell people and fucking, you know, because like you said, like hearing it from someone who's actually there is the only way to actually even try to understand it. We can sift through all this media garbage and it's like right left bullshit and divide and fucking tricks and fucking censorship and all sorts of just crap, but you're actually bringing it, and people in the chat are absolutely loving it, by the way. They're like, go Janie.
She's the bomb.
That's awesome.
We agree with you.
And Jonathan, they're like, and Jonathan has really sexy
Jonathan's
hair.
cool too.
Yeah, he's all right. I mean, his hair is pretty rad. So.
Nice beard.
I was thinking your hair looks so good today. I was like,
I have my days.
It's like, and it's so Bee Gees. Like, it's so How Deep Is Your Love? Like, yeah, woman.
I was feeling it. I don't know what it was exactly, but maybe a little bit extra conditioner or something. But it feels luxurious.
It's the mood in the air. You're just feeling the etheric, like going from person.
I couldn't
Very
come on
good.
a live
Very
stream
good.
like this with hair like my competitors, Lindsay and Janie, without bringing the heat. I had to do a little extra work. I brought in a specialist.
I love it. I like write down all these questions ahead of time. I almost never go by them. They're just like there just in case I forget or like need a fucking, I don't know, whatever. But like I was looking through them and I'm like, we hit every single one of them. Like we
Good for us.
Yeah, which always is very amazing. It's like we're on the same wavelength. It's like we planned this in Dream World. But I love it.
Almost.
And I do have to go, unfortunately. Again, I'm sure you guys could go for like another 6 hours, but I can't.
You never know.
I'm a weakling. But I
It was
do.
so awesome. This was super impromptu, but that's how we should be doing things.
Yeah.
It's like, this feels, and this is what should happen, and
No.
I should tell this person this, or this person I should let this. Like, I think we need to stop like blocking ourselves from these like religion and beliefs and whatever the media tells us is. I think just let people give you the good, and keep out the bad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well,
It's easy.
and
It's easy.
follow your intuition, right? Because I was like, I don't even have Cheney's email, phone number, or anything. Like we've done all these streams together,
That's
and
so
I like
weird.
love you and
Like
think you're a
Jonathan,
badass.
tell Lindsay this. Jonathan, could you tell Shani just whatever she needs, we're here for her. Just let her know. And I'm like, okay, sure. Okay. Sure. Like, okay.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It's like, why am I doing this? I don't know, but I like it. I'll do it forever.
It was perfect.
It was like perfectly timed. It was perfectly placed. It was perfectly what I needed. And it was so weird because I feel like sometimes you told me you were going to do it. And then after you did it, when I read it, I was like, literally, this is so stupid. Okay, I'm going to take it to a next level of like, this is my crazy,
Do
like,
it.
I was
Love 'em.
laying, like, laying in the period of the time that I read it, in like somewhere in an hour of time, I was laying in my hotel bed before this event took place, and I have my like feet crossed at the bottom of the bed, and I have my arms stretched out, like all the way stretched out, where I was like, I feel so, and I was on the phone, and I was like, I feel so Christ-like right now. I feel like I could be stigmatized.
Whoa.
Like I had this whole weird trippy moment. Okay. The whole night right before I get into Maryland, we're walking. After I was like, oh, please let me be invisible. I felt like I couldn't lift up my legs anymore. I was so heavy. We had done
I
like
feel that right
30,000 steps. I was so heavy. I was like, I couldn't lift my feet anymore. And I was also grateful for the first time. I didn't wear my good like Sorel boots. I wore my stupid Chucks, so I was freezing all day. But I was so grateful I didn't have heavy shoes on. I was like, I wouldn't be able to do it. And I fucking hit a curb, and I like totally fell and ate shit.
Wow.
And I have like bruises, and I cut both the palms of my hands.
You got stigmatized.
I totally did.
That's
Like,
fucked
I
up.
totally like, I totally did. On
That
my
is
walk back.
insane.
So it's like, I don't dream, but my life is a waking dream where I was watching each bus in front of me turn off. I was like, this is really happening. I'm going to have to sacrifice. But I also, the first Uber we got kicked out of, I was so high of like, yay, we made it out, Warzone party. It would have been drinks. And it was like, that's not how you walk away from a war zone. Like
Yeah.
you need to walk away from a battlefield, and I needed to feel what it felt like to walk through enemy territory. Like I
Wow.
needed to feel the whole feels and sit on it and rest in it. And it was the whole thing was beautiful. And that was just one person of 2 million or whatever people were there. I was just one with my stories connected to you guys and connected to other people and those people and those people and those people and those energies. And I was just one of 2 million energies that were there.
Yeah.
It's fucking heady.
It's fucking amazing. You multiply that out by all of the effect, and it's like, this is why...
Extrapolate.
Yeah. I think this is why it's so important to remind everybody that every single person has a specific role that they're playing and brings it, and fucking the more you are, like, with that and know that and, like, value that, and you know what I mean? Like, you can't fucking
And you
stop
already
that.
know what it is. You know what it is. Like,
Yes.
you don't know that you know what it is, but
you
you
do.
know what it is. Like,
Yeah.
what you're just going to realize, we're like, oh, duh. Like, I'm always like this. I like doing that. This is fine. I'll do this. And then that's exactly what we all needed.
Yes. And I feel that, like you said, like, I feel like we, like, came here for this, obviously, but I like to imagine us up in fucking wherever, like, you know, heaven or whatever, and being like, dude, this is gonna be fucking wild. Are you guys ready? Like, high five, dive in. Like, see you in 30 years or whatever, however fucking long it took.
Yeah. I would imagine, like, the thing we used to do in high school football where you all put your hands together and, like, I don't remember what we said, but it was something along those lines.
I'm feeling it, and like I said, I think, well, I really needed this today because I was in the fucking, like, okay, I give up on everyone, goodbye.
That's awesome, dude. Like, we already had something scheduled for like a month, maybe longer, with these people that we really want to talk to. And Jenny was texting me when she was on her way back from Washington, and I could tell she was just in this really raw state. And she was like, I just want to talk to Lindsay. Like, I don't know what we have planned for Friday, but let's just talk to Lindsay. And I was like, okay.
Aw.
Like, I'll cancel this. Like, sorry guys, we'll get back with you. This is what we're gonna do now. We changed all the plans, and here we are. So.
Oh, that's
I think it
very
was perfect.
sweet. Thank you. I feel honored,
It was
and
perfect.
I think like this. I always feel like this for every show, basically, but I feel like all the people who really need to hear exactly the message that you brought, Cheney, and that we all brought, but that Cheney brought from that event. I think that is exactly what's happening, and that all these people are going to get this, like, rekindling and this, like, remembering of something very important, and that's part of the ongoing magic that's happening. So thank you for doing that magic.
Thank you for your protection.
Absolutely,
And
anytime.
whatever else. I don't even know. But
It's
it was
not-
something really big, and it was more it was more than just me. Like, it went out, you know.
Well, that
and
was
it was more than just you.
Yeah.
It was like a whole
That was your
It was awesome.
intention. That's why it was the coolest blessing, I think, that I've ever given. Because I was like, you know, sometimes I get, like, sort of images or, like, ideas or messages or whatever while I'm doing a blessing, and but that was like this fucking blast of, like, energy. I was like, holy shit. I was like, this is amazing. And it's not me, it's whatever you want to call heaven or source or, like, love or God or whatever, you know, coming
All
through.
right.
But your intention was to spread it to all those people, because I can't bless that many people at once. Like, or maybe I can, but I'm not there yet in my head, you know? So, like, you did that.
Me either. I feel like all of us together. I'm not
Yeah.
either. I don't know anything. I thought I knew everything. And it's funny because Jonathan and I on our last show, we were talking about where I felt like my whole life I was the scarecrow searching for my brain. Like, I just wanted to fill my head with as much knowledge. And I realized, oh my God, I'm the Tin Man. But I really today had this whole moment of, oh my God, I really was Dorothy and pulled back the veil on the wizard, like behind the curtain, as I got past my fears and just kept walking through this silly facade movie set that was called the Capitol, and this whatever purge was happening.
Yeah.
It was so fake, and I really it was standing on a movie set, and I'm interested in seeing what everybody else's thoughts were
Well,
of it.
you're clearly not any one of those. You're the Trinity. You're all of them at once. So what?
And I got my courage too this year. I didn't even know that was like February when I was flattening the
Oh,
curve.
see, you're the quaternity then. That's even more.
That's a great word.
That's one more than the Trinity.
That's
so
one
better.
more. It's better. Quaternity is a word that showed up in my head from nowhere that I, as far as I know, had never heard or read before, and ended up being a central theme in my novel, which is when it came to me as while I was writing part of that. I was like, okay, quaternity. And then I learned about it afterwards and was like, that's a real fucking thing. And it's actually very significant, and it ties into everything in the book like way more than I could have ever fucking planned, like ever. Like, I'm not that clever. So quaternity is a very special word to me.
Awesome. Made perfect sense to me when you said
I
it.
loved it.
Exactly.
Well, what are you
It's a
guys'
beautiful word.
It is a beautiful word. Yeah. What are you guys' final words of wisdom to share with everybody who's out here listening and cheering you guys on?
Go, Jonathan.
It's
always
hard
get
to
go
summarize
first
all
on
of
this.
that in one fucking little moment.
My thoughts are that we're doing great, guys. You're doing awesome. This is exactly where you're supposed to be. This is exactly what we came here for. We're on the right track. We're doing the right things. And yes, you could be better. Don't beat yourself up about it, because this is where you're at. The reason you're not better is because this is where you're at. So be there and continue on your path, because we're doing it. We already won. God wins. Everything's going to be all right. That's my favorite conspiracy, is that everything's all right.
I love it. I needed that.
I love it.
I know that a bunch of people needed that, so thank you.
Yeah.
I don't even have anything else to add. That's exactly what I feel too. That was perfectly said.
Beautiful. Beautiful. I love it so much. I'm sorry that it has to end, but fellow travelers of the path, it is a beautiful thing. And this has been your analog, electric, concentric dose of wisdom according to the conspiracy chicken, Cheney. Cheney, thank you so much for bringing that extra special firsthand dose of gnosis for all of us.
Yeah.
And according to the magical man, Jonathan Beauchamp. Jonathan, thank you as always for being here as well. So good to hear your words of wisdom.
Wonderful to be here, Lindsay. That was great.
Thank you to both of you.
Love you and your whole audience. They're amazing.
Yeah.
I love you guys too.
See you guys.
Thank you for everything, Lindsay. It was awesome, and I'm sure there is other battles ahead.
Yes, we'll be there. I'm not afraid.
Yeah. Me either.
We're all in this together. Like, actually, though,
Yeah.
not with the cheesy bullshit.
Would you say where we go one, we go all?
Ooh.
No, we're trying to keep our Instagram account.
Yeah, true. For real. I love it. Thank you, guys.
Yeah.
All right, well,
Love you.
the world is filled with absolutely brainwashed and thoughtless people who are utterly convinced they're better than you in every way. They're smarter, they're more noble, they've got a shitload more virtue, and they will work tirelessly to destroy you and your point of view. Why? Because it terrifies them. They are incapable of even wondering what actually happened, because any random thread of the tapestry pulled would unveil the entire fated, stunningly evil design, and their tiny hearts and withered brains literally cannot handle it. If it wasn't so utterly depressing to watch them beg for tyranny, it would be hilarious. These people are broken and damaged, and there is literally no hope for them through reason or logic. They abandoned those things long ago. The only thing left is to try, beyond saintly manner, to love them anyway. They literally know not what they do. So until you ascend to sainthood via finding love for the world destroyers, travel well, aim for balance, and always look inside first.
I heard the free. Man, they at it again. And I'm out to tell the truth once more. That's right. It's on the cracking, unknown in the house. APOGZ, that's right. Hitting the stereo near you. Truth is the best thing. And it's on. Yo, I once thought that I wanted to get Denver on track, but there's something more bigger than that. Something lurking, waiting to blow this state right off the map. A hidden agenda related to September. Doves carved up on the wall next to the highway. Up in the concrete, while rolling home next to where I stay. With state's destruction, Lockheed Martin malfunction. While NORAD's in the mountain anticipating our next move. My heart's jumping and I'm like, fuck waiting. While crooked taxes are burning a hole in my pocket. With a dollar bill in the pyramid that's watching. Instead of having a capstone on top of it, they have an eye with a fast surprise while you're flossing it. Greedy niggas jocking it, politics plotting it. So who you vote for really doesn't mean shit. So save your energy from being drained by the enemy. Skull and bones and Freemasonry, envisioning dreams of them chasing me. Skull and bones of Freemasonry, envisioning dreams of them chasing me. Skull and bones of Freemasonry, secret agencies with a plan to dominate all of man. Check the records of DIA, strange murals and paintings similar to the ones next to the highway. With pyramids and flames underneath them looking like they're about to fly away. I can't be tripping, but it sounds like I'm on acid. Most people slipping, taken below DIA, held captive in the near future, where they won't hesitate to reinstate new laws for a bigger cause. I'm talking about established civilian concentration camps, introducing the military's labor programs. Expand your mind just a little bit, forget the little shit before you witness the belittlement of your people. Expand your mind just a little bit, forget the little shit before you witness the belittlement of your people.
Feds ain't stretching the truth, the script that he's spitting is true. Pay attention to what's going on or it might happen to you. When it's happening too, cellular communication monitor, behavior studied and controlled through chemicals bombing nerves. This word of Jesus ain't got anything to do with it, religious cynic, where experiments cage and lace in terms of accepting limits. Things that can't explain to the sky when I'm in the Rockies. Chakra systems limited due to the voltage overhead pop. Mind control victims, slap clips and machine guns for recess. FCC will help us speak less, manipulate us through weak feel right non-fiction with the CIA trying to kill me filthy. Talking about the underground facility at DIA, no one feel that place laced with hints. Notice whenever I return home, lack some references in a new world Masonic capstone. Employ an Area 51 workers to build, and I don't mean to rant. In the face of an emergency, it doubles as a FEMA camp. The reaction solution trickery repeated through history. NORAD's listening in using technology, tracking where you piss and sleep. Paranoid or just facing the fact. Better watch what you say, it's another day under the Patriot Act. Extend your mind just a little bit, forget the little shit before you witness a little bit of your people. Extend your mind just a little bit, forget the little shit before you witness a little bit of your people.
The idea is to bring people to the point where they are helpless, passive, and unable to assert their own creative power to form anything else. Success for people like this is measured in terms of money, which they then translate into power. Corruption and violations of the Constitution. Secret societies, the push for one world government. I'd like to get corruption and violations of the Constitution. The idea is to bring people to the point where they are helpless, passive, and unable to assert their own creative power to form anything else.